to be blowing very, very hard after about 20 odd minutes. I expected him to probably see the first half out. He was determined to go on. He's done very, very little training, and he's done very little play preparation with the team. I thought his efforts were magnificent. Delighted for him that he scored the goal, but his whole effort throughout was magnificent.
Can you see how you found playing alongside Chris?
Oh, worst ever. No, I was kidding. No, he's a class player. I always said that if you play with a class player, it's not difficult.
Sutton played his part in setting up Larsson for the opening goal. The Swede proved he's regained his sharpness after last season's broken leg.
I said to him in the dressing room, I thought beforehand he was a good player. I'm wrong about that there. He's a fantastic player.
O'Neill's satisfied with the debut of Belgian centre-half Jos Valhaeren, but annoyed at the defending for David McCracken's equaliser. Nonetheless, mission accomplished. His Celtic
Start to his dream job for Martin O'Neill, but it's done nothing to alter his view of the size of the task he faces with Celtic. After he had time to reflect on victory at Tannadice, he spoke exclusively to Davy Provan.
As Celtic's 9th manager in 10 years, Martin O'Neill knows he's taking on the most challenging job in British football. But much of his apprehension would have disappeared at Tannadice, as the Celtic faithful welcomed him like a long-lost son.
It was fantastic, phenomenal. And in many aspects, although you should never be surprised about anything around Celtic Football Club, it was really phenomenal, and it was a sort of a welling feeling. You want to win. You want to win as much because of the people as for myself. And don't get me wrong, I'm as selfish as the next man. I want to win for self-preservation as much as anything. But it was just a fantastic feeling there, and obviously at the end when we've won the game.
Does that explain the emotion at the goals?
Well, anybody who's seen me jumping around like a lunatic around Filbert Street for about 4 years would
That's
know.
normal, is it?
It's sort of normal practice, you know, and you never realise until afterwards what sort of fool you've made of yourself by jumping around. I'm not getting any younger, and therefore this jumping is probably doing my brain in. And was it Graham Souness said a couple of years, if you continue on like that there, you'll certainly take a heart attack. So heart attack's round the corner.
You've had a few weeks now to get your feet under the desk. What is your assessment of the squad you have to work with?
From afar, I used to think that Larsson was a very good player. I've changed my mind about that. He's not a very good player. He's a brilliant player. He's fantastic. There's no doubt about it. And people talk about being unselfish. He knows exactly what he's doing with the ball. I still think there's more to come. He feels that himself. You know, getting back from the broken leg, he might not be completely right yet. So that augurs well for us. Now, we had a few defensive frailties last season and things like this here, and I think at some stage or another in the game they were apparent again. You know, we haven't solved every single problem. I was really delighted with the commitment of the players. You've told me yourself that that might be a game that they might have lost last season. So from that, there was plenty of drive, plenty of determination, and in the first half we played really excellently. Now, if we can combine that with a number of players that I think, even numerically speaking, and I think there was only Malby who was actually unfit, we wouldn't have the same squad as Rangers. So I really want to try and build that as much as possible. And if we can supplement that with a couple of decent players, well, you never know.
In the broader picture, is the job turning out to be bigger than you expected, or much as you expected?
Very much as I expected. That really is. For instance, the very question that you asked me, you know, would that be if we had lost the game opening day? You just mentioned that people were calling for Wim Janssen's head after 2 matches, and he ends up winning the league. And I suppose you're possibly joking about that. Maybe you weren't. But at the end of all that, you know the sort of pressure that you're going to be put under. But we've got lots to do to overhaul Rangers. You know that yourself, and I think that everybody does that. I'd love to be given the time. I said to you in the very first interview I did with you, I'm not expecting to get this job right about a week before my contract ends, because it'll certainly not be renewed. But I think that the fans would say that this will not happen overnight.
Brian Clough was telling Sky this morning that he felt you were the outstanding manager in the Premiership last season, but that he doesn't think you can overhaul Rangers here in your first season. Is that a fair assessment? Well,
I think that over the years that he would be, he was a fantastic manager himself, one of the great managers ever, believe it or not. and up alongside Jock Stein, without a doubt, and Bill Shankly, you know, in many aspects. And you considering what he did. Celtic's a massive club, Liverpool are a massive club, Manchester United under Alex Ferguson, fantastic club as well. But considering what he actually achieved with a provincial club, 2 European Cups and a league championship, and winning a championship with another provincial side in Derby, puts him up there along with anyone. So, but he has a drop of realism, as he always would, attached to situations like this. And I think from a distance he would see that that's absolutely right. We didn't finish 21 points behind Rangers because we were unlucky. You know, Rangers were by far the better team and by far the more consistent side, and that they would win matches when they weren't playing particularly well. Celtic could actually be playing well for a period of time, as I've seen in the videos of matches, and end up getting into a bit of a panic and losing the games. Now that may still happen under me at the end of the day, you know, may still do, but I'm hoping that we will make big progress.
There is also the consideration that even second place would get you into the Champions Cup next season. Is that a more realistic target, to build a side here which by the end of the season might be ready to play at that level?
Well, I think that is probably the realistic view. I mean, I've never judged my life in realism, to be perfectly honest, but I think that you would probably feel that that would be the way to go. I'm probably maundering around here to get hold of things. Let me say, we have a big job to do. You said it yourself, and I think that people would accept that. Rangers now have bought players to keep an eye on both fronts. In the Champions League, which they are big into at this minute, and obviously to keep themselves afloat in the Premiership. They know exactly how they have done it for the last couple of seasons. Well, I've done it 11 out of 12, or is it 12 out of 13? So they know how to win. They know how to win the Scottish Premiership, without a doubt. You know, and they know how to keep their eye on it. Very much like Manchester United down in England, know how to when to speed things up and when to go away from teams. We've got to learn all that again. You know. And but again, couldn't ask for any more from the players, you know. And it's all a bit new to them as well. It's a bit new to me, new to them. Asking 2 players to make their debut, and certainly Sutton, who I thought did brilliantly for us, not being particularly fit. Al-Harim moving in there, it's the way he wants his name pronouncing. You know, I've been calling him the wrong name now for quite some time. And I thought he did exceptionally well, but there's more to come from him. But couldn't ask for any more from that aspect. Whether that's enough or not, you would probably say to me, it wouldn't be.
Would you accept taking this job, Martin, that you're now going to have to give up your private life?
Well, in many aspects, it's you said to me, is it the job as much as you expected, or is it in the way you expected? I suppose deep down, I did expect this. You know, Glasgow, in many aspects, there are 2 sides, a lot of newspapers, you have to cover a lot of stories. The way I wanted them covered is that if I've said something, spin it whatever way you want, you know, that's the nature of the game. But if I haven't said it, please don't make it up. And so I've had to try and come to terms with those particular things. And sometimes when people get things hopelessly wrong in newspapers about I think one of the stories was written for a couple of days where I had this wife, for instance, who was running the show. I want to tell you
they all
something.
do, don't they?
I want to tell you something now, man, and I don't care what anybody says. I run the show in my household, always have done, and always will do. And I don't care when she sees this interview at all. I'm telling you, I get particular stick when we lose the match, but that's because I have 2 other girls in the house, 2 daughters, and then I can't win when all 3 gang up on me. But the only time they gang up on me is when we actually lose matches.
Are you already looking ahead to the first Old Firm game? That's going to be a real test, isn't it?
No, not at all. And I mean this, I am looking forward now to the Motherwell game, very much so, and so are the players. Absolutely delighted that we've won the game against Dundee United. Sets us up, gives us a start, gives us a wee bit of confidence that we might not have been there before. And now the Motherwell game, Rangers game is 1,000,000 miles away, and I mean that, 1,000,000 miles away. No interest in that whatsoever at the minute.
Okay, I know you're not going to give me any names, but numerically, how many players are you looking to bring in, do you think?
Well, I suppose let me put it this way: I've been given a budget to spend, and I would intend to spend it.
You quite happy with that budget?
Oh, listen, I would love to. I'd love to quadruple it. To be perfectly honest, it's not going to happen. I'm delighted. If I had no budget, I would have still taken the job, and I really mean that. The job means that much to me. I've been given that, and I would intend to spend it. Whatever the PLC board members and want to say about it, I am absolutely delighted. But I do want to spend it. I would rather have it there on the field of play rather than something waiting for a rainy day, as it were. So I'll attempt to try and get the players that I think will be a big asset for the football club, and that can eventually, when everybody is up and running, will be good enough to stay in the side for now and maybe for a period of a couple of years.
When compared to dealing with the latest questions about possible new signings, like Leicester midfielder Neil Lennon.
And Neil Lennon is not my player, and you keep, you know, and this honestly, it's just been dragged every single day. I mean, I wake up and there's a phone call, and it's about Neil Lennon, you know, and George Bush has just called me about Neil Lennon, and you know, honestly, and I know it's continued. There are a couple of phone calls from Russia and saying the same thing. You know, do you know that we have 4 astronauts still stuck up in the sky, and Neil Lennon's one of them. So go on, you know. So you go on, ever in a day. So you keep going.
Lennon gonna have a crack, and he does, and an excellent save.
Can we get down to facts, Martin?
I would be absolutely delighted.
Is there a bid still on the table for Neil Lennon? Is your bid still on the table with Leicester?
I put a bid in for Neil Lennon, and that was turned down. And the truth of the matter is this year, I have done nothing since.
Do you plan to?
I will have a think about it, that's all. That's all. But remember, I think you'll have to think about Leicester City in this particular instance, and I do not want to make all these particulars as public as it possibly could be at the end of the day. And so that's the situation.
As he tries to get players in, some like Mark Birchall wonder if they should be getting out. But O'Neill says he's trying to build a squad with the depth Rangers have.
There were 2 or 3 disappointed players on Sunday when the team was announced, which I can really empathise and also sympathise with in many aspects, because I've been in that situation before. Now, to realise that they at this minute, competition for places, which is across the river, over at Ibrox, it is important, and we are going to try and get into that position. And some players will, because of the ruling at this minute, have to sit 1 or 2 out.
Unlikely to sit out too many games is Henrik Larsson, who started the season in sparkling form. But do Celtic have to be wary of being too dependent on their Swedish star?
It certainly had an influence and a factor in the way the season went last season to miss a player of that quality. I think any team would miss somebody of his quality. Obviously that's for the manager to get right, to have cover, and I think we have that, and the players that are unavailable weren't used at the time, Tommy and Marcus fell strike.
And more than was hoping to continue last season's good results against Celtic, the home side couldn't afford a defeat this early in the campaign. Commentary from Rob McLean.
Martin O'Neill was happy with the way Celtic started the season last Sunday, and the only change to his starting lineup is unavoidable. Alan Stubbs hasn't recovered from injury. Olivier Tebele comes in as a replacement in the defensive lineup. Here's how Celtic shape up. Tebele alongside Tom Boyd and Yus Valgaeren at the back, and the promising partnership of Henrik Larsson and Chris Sutton up front, both scored on the opening weekend. Jonathan Gould has the goalkeeper's jersey at the moment, but will wonder for how much longer. Celtic are unlikely to end their search for a keeper, despite the failed attempt to land Mark Bosnich on loan. Motherwell offer a big chance to 17-year-old Martin Wood, signed from Highland League club Rothes. He was a sub last Saturday and a starter today. His inclusion is one of 3 changes. Another teenager, 18-year-old Stephen Hamill, comes in, and last season's top scorer Lee McCulloch is back after suspension. Twaddle joins Goodman and Adams on the injured list. Spencer suspended. Townsley and Nicholas drop to the bench. Billy Davis brings in Hamill at left back and pushes Steve McMillan into midfield. And it's a new strike partnership with McCulloch, the senior partner, aged 22. The referee for Celtic against Motherwell is Alan Freeland. Celtic get the match started after last weekend's winning beginning at Tannadice. Martin O'Neill said he couldn't have wanted much more against Dundee United in the way of effort. But it's a long building process he will be expecting as Celtic manager. It's a quick start by Martin Wood. That's an effort from Paul Harvey. And a good solid save from Jonathan Gould. And an early strike from Harvey with just 30 seconds gone. It skidded off the turf and Jonathan Gould knocked it to safety. Martin O'Neill's first competitive match at Celtic Park as Celtic manager. Back from Berkovic. McNamara for Sutton. Greg Strong relieved him of possession. Lost by Brannan. Could be expensive. Here's Lambert. Still Lambert. That's a good challenge. It had to be from Greg Strong. Corner kick given away, but the repercussions here from Motherwell could have been much more serious. Impressive stuff here from Lambert. And a good covering challenge. Petrov linking with Mahi. A late challenge from John Davis. And a flare-up involving, surprise, surprise, Stefan Mahi. Alan Freeland always seemed to have that under control. The yellow card is out for John Davis, and really Mahi had no need to get himself involved. It's a booking for John Davis for this late one on Stilian Petrov, well after the ball had gone. Lambert trying to find some room. Olivier Tebele up for Larsson. Greg Strong's header. Celtic back on the ball with Larsson. Turned to safety by Stephen Hamill. A cushioned return from Larsson, in from McNamara. And back in from Lambert to Petrov. It's a wonderful strike by Stilian Petrov. Celtic strike first, 11 minutes gone, and that had Martin O'Neill on his feet. He was bouncing up and down at Tannadice last Sunday, and Celtic have taken just 11 minutes to open the scoring. Lovely touch on his chest to control the ball, and the hook shot was well away from Andy Gorham. Petrov struck just once last season, and already he's equalled the total. What was certain about the goal was that Petrov wasn't picked up, but was Eyal Berkovic in an offside position. He was coming back, trying to get onside. Greg Strong was alongside, and was Berkovic affecting play? Alan Phelan thought no, it's 1-0. Corrigan up ahead of him, Davis, Harvey, Wood and McCulloch. Laid back by McMillan for Brannan. Now young Stephen Hamill gets forward. Supported by McMillan, good run, promising position. In for Wood, got a glancing header. Chased by McCulloch. Out of play off Stefan Mahi. This was McMillan. A lot of room, and not quite enough on the header from Martin Wood. It's for Henrik Larsson. Watched closely by Greg Strong. Now McNamara. Berkovic looking to create something for Larsson. Doesn't need too much of a gap, Henrik Larsson. He threaded through the shot at goal, very much on target. And beaten away by Andy Gorham. Berkovic was at the centre of this. And look how he squeezed the shot through. Corner kick taken. Chris Sutton climbing for the header. And just over the top from Jus Valgaeren. These two could cause mayhem in any penalty box, Sutton and Valgaeren. Boyd's clearance, controlled well by Sutton. On through Berkovic to McNamara. Now Larson. A tackle by Greg Straw. And it's a free kick. Went for the ball, Strong, but ended up catching Larson. The big boys are up, Valgaeren, alongside Olivier Tebely and Henrik Larsson and Chris Sutton. And Stilian Petrov with the free kick. Back to Jackie McNamara. Just too high. McNamara couldn't keep the shot down. Composure from Paul Lambert. All the time to take that down on his chest. Find Chris Sutton with the pass. And there's an overreaction from Greg Strong. Got himself into a few spots of bother last season, Strong. And he really should have kept clear of this. This was the initial challenge. There's the tugging going on between the pair of them. 6.5 a dozen, really. Free kick given against Strong. But he stepped forward and pushed Sutton in the back after the free kick had been given. And that will earn him a yellow card. And Chris Sutton is being booked as well. 3 yellows so far. Here's the free kick, Petrov with it. Valgaeren made a good run to win the header. But Motherwell did enough here to ensure it wasn't too threatening. Tebely to Sutton. A push by Strong. He's already been yellow carded, so he is one who will have to beware as this match goes on, as he tries to counter the physical presence of Sutton. Berkovic to Mahi. Larsson, shoot of touch. In from Berkovic to the feet of Sutton. Henrik Larsson, the effort blocked by John Davis. And the volley from Berkovic flies wide. It's sliced away off the outside of his boot. Boyd to Sutton. Back for Lambert. Got the pass away just before the arrival of McMillan. Petrov, good turn. Foul against John Davis, and John Davis will be sent off. He was yellow carded in the opening minutes. And Davis, the manager's brother, is off. I don't think he can complain too much here. He was turned, beaten all ends up by Petrov. There was a tug at the shorts. Down went the Bulgarian. That was a bookable offence. It was a second for Davis, and Motherwell down to 10 men with still 7 minutes to go in the first half. It was going to be difficult anyway for Billy Davis. Now doubly so, with Celtic having a one-man advantage. His brother off. Petrov opening play out. Finds McNamara. Through for Larsson. Sutton gets there. Still Sutton. Now Berkovic. Straight at Andy Gorham. It was a good chance to make it 2-0. Chris Sutton causing havoc in the Motherwell central defence. And Celtic pushing the ball around, as they've done for much of the half. That's the end of the first half. Celtic 1 goal up and 1 man up. Stilian Petrov's first strike of the season. Motherwell didn't really want to make it more difficult than it was already. They have done. 10 men in the second half, and it's 1-0 Celtic. Motherwell get the match restarted. They had every right to go into this with a little bit of confidence because of the results against Celtic last season. They took 7 points out of a possible 12. But it's all gone horribly wrong for them so far this afternoon. A goal down early on, and now it's 10 against 11. Mahi's clearance. The arm of Larsson looked to be used to get that under control. Steve McMillan to Stephen Hamill. Again, the Motherwell passing not good enough. Inviting trouble. Jet Brannan. Long ball over the top. Martin Woods would need to be a whole lot quicker to have got near that. Billy Davis knows he needs some good performances in this second half if his side is not to get swamped. Already down to 10 men. Petrov against McMillan. The pass deflected, corner kick. First of the second half. And Petrov looking a much more effective player for Celtic than he did on his arrival at the club. Just turned 21, remember. Here's the corner kick, just beyond Larsson. A glancing header. Just beyond the Swedish striker. Berkovic. Larsson finds some room. McNamara. That's in for Chris Sutton. He was stretching. The free kick is Motherwell's. That doesn't go down too well with the home support. We reckon their man was being fouled, but there's the grappling going on in the middle as Chris Sutton stretched for the header. Boyd finds Larsson, good challenge by Campbell. One back by Petrov, good quick feet as well. Another free kick. The foul challenge acknowledged by Stephen McMillan. Lambert's free kick, left by Sutton. And when it broke back to him, a lightning shot at goal. Andy Goran didn't know too much about it, and it rocketed back off the uprights. So close, Chris Sutton, to his second goal for Celtic, and so close to stretching Celtic's lead here. Now Tansley. Derek Tansley building up a furrowed head of steam. Now he needs help. All the way back for Corrigan. McNamara's header away. Onto it, Stephen Hamill. Closed down by Berkovic. That's good work. That's exactly what Martin O'Neill is looking for from him, in addition to his creative qualities. He wants a little bit of graft to go with it. Good skills from Sutton. Strong challenge from Steve McMillan. Got the ball. McCulloch. Late challenge from Jackie McNamara. Some finger wagging from McNamara. But Alan Freeland is about to show him the yellow card for that late one from the back on McCulloch. And he joins the crime count. And he's being warned that if he has too much more to say about it, the consequences could be more serious. There's the card. In comes the free kick from Jed Brannan. Turned away by Sutton. And Stefan Mahe prevents it going behind for a corner. Looked to be a push on Valgaeren by Nicholas. It was spotted. Free kick. Nicholas did well to push him off the ball. Left by Larsson, well read by Kemble. Got there before Sutton. And Jackie McNamara is in trouble. It's a second yellow card. McNamara sent off. 2 bookings in a matter of minutes for McNamara. And it's now all levelled up. 10 men each. It was a wild one from McNamara. He slid in from a long way away. Not at all happy as he disappears down the tunnel, Jackie McNamara. Kemble gets some treatment. It was he who was caught late. And it's Alan Freeland who's in the spotlight. 2 yellow cards for John Davis. And now 2 for Jackie McNamara. Corrigan's pass is a good one for Lee McCulloch at a tight angle and didn't force Jonathan Gould into a save. Trying to claim that Gould got a touch. This was a good ball forward. He got in behind Valgaeren with McCulloch, but failed to hit the target. Billy Davis will feel that the last few minutes have given him a little bit of hope. Now 10 men each and still just 1 down. Olivier Tebele over the head of Greg Strong, wrestled to the ground by Chris Sutton, and Chris Sutton has been sent off. The 3rd red card of the match. Celtic down to 9 men. Sutton has something to say to referee Alan Freeland. It won't be complimentary, you can be assured of that. Well, it looked to be 6 1/2 there between the two. There was grabbing of shirts going on from both sides. Sutton is off in his 2nd competitive match in Scottish football. He scored in the 1st, red carded in the 2nd. Martin O'Neill with Steve Walford alongside him. O'Neill was spoken to by referee Alan Freeland as Chris Sutton was sent off. He presumably, like his £6 million striker, not too happy with that decision, and now desperately clinging on, he hopes, to 3 points. Tamsley. Stephen Nicholas again. Good challenge from Mai. No way past for Tansley. Played in first time by Campbell. In went Elliott. Offside. That would have been some moment for the former Glentoran player. He kept himself onside and flicked that past Jonathan Gould. The flag was up. Off the head of Strong, back to Gorham. Immediately hammered downfield by the Motherwell keeper. Yalby got his head to it. Petrov. Good play from Campbell. One back by Petrov. Good play from the Bulgarian, but that's given away by Tebele. Motherwell on the move with Brannan. That's in for McCullough. Headed away by Boyd to Stuart Elliott. He's furious with himself there. He had time to take a touch and then have a crack at goal. Disappointing here for Motherwell. Elliott couldn't hit the target. Boyd's header dropped at his feet. Should have made more of it. And might well be getting told just that. Larsson's flick. But no Sutton alongside him now. That's a heavy collision. Cillian Petrov did well to keep his eye on the ball and hook the ball away there. And he was caught by Lee McCullough. Not too much malicious about this one, but Petrov must have felt that. When Lee McCullough gets off the ground, he's staring straight at a yellow card. And Cillian Petrov is on the touchline to be joined by McCullough in a moment. And both will have to wait to be allowed back on. Nice and quiet, isn't it, Scottish football? A calm Saturday afternoon this has not been. Henrik Larsson knocks the ball deep downfield. That'll do at the moment for Celtic. And for them, the final whistle will do nicely. It's another 3 points for Martin O'Neill. 2 wins out of 2 is just the sort of start to the season he was looking for. 1-0 it finished, but that doesn't begin to tell the story of a stormy match. And Alan Freeland 3 times produced the red card, a string of yellow cards as well, which added up to a dismissal at the tail end of the first half for John Davis, and then sendings off in the second half for Jackie McNamara and for Chris Sutton. There's the scorer of the only goal of the game, Cillian Petrov. 11 minutes in, that proved to be decisive. It's 3 points for Celtic. Motherwell still to get off the mark, but the headlines will be made by that trio of red cards. Final.
Be using it as much of a form guide. It was back in 1977.
McWilliams is up and is there. Roddy McDonald right in on top of that. Glavin wants a chip across. There's Edmondson in. There's Wilson. Paul Wilson gets number 2. Big gig to Celtic. All anxious to get on with it. Can't get his shot in though. Roy Aiken. Glavin with a great shot. There must be. Joe Craig picks it, number 3. 7.5 minutes gone. Now this must be it, yes. Joe Craig. That's towards Edwardson. Took up position well. What is a great goal! Fine, McLaughlin.
So 5-0 in the first leg and 6-1 in the...
Or a bad a result could be, you never know. It might just happen. Well, the Luxembourg side includes 7 internationals in a side comprised entirely of amateurs.
Anchor player, Larson and Sutton will be up front, supported by Moravcik.
The last 2 years they've qualified for the UEFA Cup as Luxembourg Cup winners. They only finished second in the league last year to another local side, F91. Celtic, on the other hand, so many more honours, so much more experience. But Martin O'Neill was very quick to play down any comparisons between this match and the one in 1977 when Celtic won 11-1. Mind the scoreline.
Yes, I think a comfortable victory would please them, and I would suspect it's assured this evening against the part-time players from Luxembourg. But Celtic have great
running for this match. Henrik Larsson and Chris Sutton wait for the signal from referee Giorgio Casnaferris, and the game is off and running. Celtic's 49th UEFA Cup tie. It signifies the beginning of another attempt to secure this competition for the first time. And with jeunesse having only won 2 ties in 41 years in Europe, this should be one of the more surmountable hurdles that Celtic have come across in recent years. Valharan defending quite comfortably as Pettis try to get on the end of the long ball forward.
Yes, it's an attractive stadium in which to play a running track round the pitch, but it's very good surface and most attractive environment, and of course the Celtic fans in full voice already. It's a grand old team to play for here, and I'm sure they'll be singing that throughout the match with gusto, and I'm sure with confidence and with justification as the game progresses.
The free kick was taken quickly by Paul Lambert. This is Bobby Petter, a player who very much has been out of the scene as far as Celtic were concerned. His last start was against Motherwell back in October 1999, a game which Celtic lost by a goal to nil. Very much a fringe player since then. Pressure by Sutton. Is Petter taking on and beating Till. Sutton again.
Yeah, we see Petter making a bright start. He's done well under the new leadership of Martin O'Neill and has been one of the most improved players at Celtic Park, judging by his performances at the start of this season.
It's Mahe. Celtic taking control of the midfield with Lambert. Now Riseth. Mahe for Celtic. Petter's got Larson in the centre if he can get the ball past Till, and it's a good cross. The goalkeeper Van Rijswijk used his plentiful experience to make sure that he got there first.
Yeah, comfortable save for the goalkeeper, not offering him much threat really, but you know, goalkeeper likes to get an early touch, and that is really a gift of a cross for an experienced goalkeeper, and I'm sure he's happy to get his eye in and make a comfortable catch.
Referee allows the advantage to be played after a foul on Shuto in the midfield. Mahe in firmly. Mistake though by Mjallby. Gets the chance to rectify the situation. Johan Mjallby, who's making his first start of the season. And Jackie McNamara. Clearance by Till. Is Wagner. Larsson putting the pressure on as Lamberel tries to bring the ball out from defence. Certainly no sign in these early stages that Celtic are prepared to just wait to see what the Luxembourg side are made of. There's been plenty of pressure from the Celtic midfielders. Good work there by Larsson. McNamara gives away the throw. Just trying to buy a throw in Celtic's way by taking the touch off Shuto. Throw taken by Jean Wagner, who is a civil servant, one of the few uncapped Luxembourg footballers. Now Bobby Petter. Celtic dominating the early possession as you would expect. Good interplay between Larsson and Chris Sutton. Lambert. Larsson fighted Moravcik forward, but again it was dealt with at the back by the deep-lying Wagner. Challenged by Mahe, stops. Aside from the Principality mounting their first concrete attack of the game, which is some 5 minutes old.
Yeah, the Celtic team is very comfortable in possession at the moment, and I noticed they're pressing as far forward as possible. Whenever jeunesse get possession, Celtic are pressing very hard to win possession back, and that's good. That will keep the part-timers under constant pressure. You see it, Petter moving closely in and forcing the defender there, Lamberel, to play it out for a throw-in. Urgency about Celtic's play, quick throw-in, and that's pleasing. They're not just going to walk through this game hoping to be comfortable away from home. They want to get something away from home so that the home tie is a formality.
And Bobby Petter trying to provide that. The save from Van Rijswijk just made sure that it wasn't going to be too close to Chris Sutton. Lamberel with the clearance. Celtic back on the attack very quickly. It was Moravcik that had motored forward. Celtic had the first corner of the game.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll be taken by Moravcik, who is the most gifted striker of a ball I've seen in many a long day. With both feet, it doesn't matter, either foot, he'll take a corner. And he's taking a short one on this occasion.
Bends the ball in at the second opportunity.
And as I was saying, you know, he'll take it with his right foot or the left foot with one step, and his delivery is exceptional, so much so that he's taken the run from the left-hand side over to the right to deliver the next corner kick.
Luba Moravcik missed the start of the season through suspension, which ruled him out of that trip to Tannadice week last Sunday. Celtic forcing the early pace. It's their second corner in quick succession. Bent in deep, good header back by Larsson.
Yeah, Larsson brilliant in the air there, he gets up very well indeed, and the long ball from the corner kick was headed back across the goal by Larsson, but the danger was cleared.
Jonathan Gould's long clearance, met by the head of the skipper Lamberel.
We were right, Jim, in predicting that Martin O'Neill would play a back three. His back three is Valharan, Reeseth and Mahe, with the Norwegian, the central player, the spare player at the back, and Lambert, of course, in the middle. So across the middle, it's McNamara, Moravcik, Lambert, Mjalby and Petter. And the front two, as we expected, Sutton with Henrik Larsson.
And those front two wait as Celtic try and steadily build another attack with Stefan Mahe. Bit of space as the ball is played inside the danger area by Mjalby.
Very encouraging to see Stefan Mahe breaking from the back. He's making his way quickly back to central defensive position, but he's been given license to go and support the middle and keep moving up to the front two, so that's very positive play in the opening spell from Celtic.
Free kick was given for a foul on Manu Scholz, who is a man that won his first cap in 6-0 defeat at Wembley last season as a left back for Luxembourg against England. And Dennis Shuto, who has been patched up, is back on the field of play. Gould powerless to stop Jeunesse winning their first corner.
Yeah, and that achievement is greeted with a cheer from the fans, because they may not this evening have much to cheer about, but they're happy to have a corner within the first 10 minutes on the left, about to be taken by Kurtz.
Claude Kurtz is one of the Frenchmen in the squad. He works for an insurance company. Envious, I'm sure, of the many tens of thousands of pounds a week that professional footballers in other countries, Scotland included, can expect in their take-home pay. Shuto, Chris Sutton dropping that little bit deeper. Jeunesse don't actually start their league season until this coming weekend. They've been hit by the retirement over the summer of veteran striker Patrick Morakuti, who scored 238 league goals in 320 games, which is a fine record, whatever standard you're playing in. He came off the bench to score in their cup final victory. Morakuti missing this season for Jeunesse. Lubo Moravcik, bit of space for Sutton, who sets the sights. Wasn't a bad strike either.
Good strike from Sutton, yes. He measured that one and he saw the target and he tried a swirling one which just hit the back stanchion or the pole which acts as a stanchion there. A clever shot from Sutton, but good interplay there from Celtic, resulting in the shot from 25, 26 yards from Sutton.
Throw's been given Celtic's way. And so far, they've been under no pressure at all from the Newcastle United lookalikes, who have struggled to really string the passes together in the final third. In fact, come to that, they've struggled to enter the final third. Celtic, on the other hand, have done plenty of pressing. Moravcik and Larson are both in the centre, but Amaral will again be able to get the ball clear.
Yeah, you're right. Celtic in the right new change that have started very rightly, and they look positive about their work, and I think it would appear to be a matter of time before they get the opening goal, which has eluded them in the first 11 or 12 minutes. But you know, they look very assured, and I would expect them to find, with strikers of the calibre of Sutton and Larson, to find the net quite soon, Jim.
It's been a long 33 years for Celtic since that famous night, European Cup triumph back in 1967. It means so much for Martin O'Neill to be at the helm of this club, how he would love to bring not just domestic success, which has been long overdue, but also European success as well. Same can be said of that.
Oh, you're right, they have the infrastructure, they have a terrific support, to 60,000 at every home game, and you know, that's tremendous encouragement to the Celtic team.
Well, Van Rijswijk was off his line very quickly, then decided that he should backpedal as the ball from Moravcik was bent forward towards Henrik Larsson. In the end, the goalkeeper decided that leaving it to Shark was the best form of defence. Wasn't let down by his centre-half. John Van Rijswijk back at the club now, his second spell at Jeunesse, the 38-year-old. Regular goalkeeper for the Luxembourg national side for 9 years in the mid to late 80s and early 90s.
Yeah, you get plenty of practice during that period in goal for Luxembourg. But I've got to say that I went here with the national team of Scotland as the assistant coach 10 years ago. And, you know, we've got to admit we struggled, and it was 0-0, nothing each result, which indicates that it's not always so easy to score away from. I think England, what was it, 3-0 away from home against Luxembourg last season. So, you know, it's not always just a matter of turning up and beating them. You've got to play, and Celtic will find that out. But they are looking very positive about their work this evening, and urgent, and I think that augurs well for the remainder of the match for Celtic.
McNamara putting the ball out of play. It's a Jeunesse throw, which they very quickly surrender possession. Lambert using the full width of the pitch to try and construct another attack, but Chris Sutton was flagged offside. Paul Lambert, a player who's got European success behind him, of course, having been a part of the Borussia Dortmund side that won the Champions League in 1997. Teammate in that Borussia squad of Stefan Klos of Rangers. Here's Schuto.
Well, that's an interesting selection at the back there, having Raseth as the central one of the middle three. You know, he runs the side so well, but Celtic have alternatives there. So I noticed Martin O'Neill is elected to make him the free defender at the back, the one in the central position. Of course, he's played there before and does so very well, but his energy and his legs and athleticism, these aspects have been very useful for him in a wide position, either right or left.
Schuto. There's a good touch through the midfield by the strike man Amodio. He will continue his run forward as Jeunesse try and make inroads inside the Celtic half. An optimistic ball forward which Valgaeren had plenty of time to come across and cover.
Valgaeren looks to have settled in nicely there, the Belgian internationalist. And I'm sure Celtic are expecting big things of him. A massive transfer fee brought him to Celtic Park, and it looks as though he'll justify that very quickly.
He's also a player that Belgium are expecting great things of. He only made his international debut back in February in a game against Portugal. He's been nearly an ever-present for them since. 7 caps to his credit. That includes all 4 games that Belgium played in Euro 2000.
Yes, in which he did very well. I saw the matches played by Belgium, because they were our opponents and group opponents in the World Cup qualification, and Valgaeren was excellent.
Free kick goes against Borbiconi, and he wasn't happy with the decision that had been made by Giorgio Kasnaferis, the Greek official. Free kick was given for handball as Lambert played it into him rather briskly. Here's Petter. Bobby Petter again looking for the pinpoint delivery of Chris Sutton at the far post, but couldn't find it. Once more possession wasted by Celtic.
Yeah, I think Petter's getting into good crossing positions on the left side, but they all seem to be high crosses to the back post. First of all, clutched by the goalkeeper, then over the top. I think a little variation would help Petter in terms of delivery, and it would encourage the strikers, at least one of them, to make a run to the front, across the face of the defenders to the front post.
Here's Petter again. Riseth finds Mahe. Mahe only finds touch.
Yeah, careless ball by Stefan Mahe. Uncharacteristic pass with his left foot. I do notice the use of the multiple ball system. There's no time wasting here from the Jeunesse team. All credit to them. They can get the ball back in play and make a match of it.
I'd almost forgive them if they were happy for the ball to have to be fished from between 2 burly Scotsmen on row X every time it went out of play. Trying to kill as much time as they can. They went out of the UEFA Cup in unceremonious style last season. Just the 10-0. They were beaten on aggregate by Skonto Riga of Latvia. Skonto then went on to play Chelsea. Chris Sutton scored against them. In comes the corner, and it's Sutton that goes up for it, looking for his first European goal for Celtic. Jeunesse able to bring it away after a fashion. This is Scholes, and he's done very well indeed. Not many amateur centre-halves can do that against highly paid professionals. Straight away, though, he's back in more accustomed duty on the back foot.
Yeah, that was good play by Scholes. Not bad for a school teacher playing at the back there, and I thought he emerged with tremendous credit, bringing the ball from deep in his own defence through and making a very useful pass forward. So that was an encouraging sign from the home side.
While it's still early stages in the game, and particularly in the tie, I'm sure Martin O'Neill will be disappointed at the lack of clear-cut goal-mouth opportunities that Celtic have created so far. 20% of the way through the game. Still 0-0, the only scoreline that this one could possibly have at the moment.
Celtic back three, splitting to retain possession there. Mjalby coming short. They're just looking for the opening, probing patiently for the opening, but no, there's no challenge. The back three got all the time in the world to work the ball across the back, but the important thing is the final delivery, and twice from Mahi it hasn't been good enough in the last couple of minutes. So I'm sure that Martin O'Neill will be saying, let's play it through the middle, get it into Lambert's feet, get it to Moravcik, get it in along the ground to Bobby Petr on the left, McNamara on the right, and that would make the difference.
Found defending by Peter Ryseth, the big Norwegian, helping it back to John Gould. McNamara again, and finding that he's got plenty of space in front of him, a real luxury. Eventually he's closed down by Shooter. Long ball forward still lacked that little bit of quality though.
Yeah, what we're seeing here is Jackie McNamara on the right, Bobby Petr on the left. They seem to have so much time, and they get time to deliver, and yet they're not used to that amount of time, and therefore they're not put under pressure, and one or two careless deliveries, too casual with it. That was an example there from Jackie McNamara. Played it right over the top then. Had he been put under pressure, I think it'd have been a crisp ball up to one of the front two much quicker.
Well, it's still 0-0, but you can understand why the photographers have chosen to sit behind that goal as opposed to the one that Jonathan Gould is defending in this first half. Celtic with all the possession so far, just with no end product at the moment. Here's Sutton trying to rectify that. Sharp happy to stand off him. This is better. Good turn by Larsson. Couldn't quite keep the ball under control. Valharan. And that was beautifully done by Sutton. Looks for Larsson. Mjalby's pushed forward, but he couldn't replicate his goal of Euro 2000 for Sweden. And a comfortable save again by Van Rijswijk. Celtic still with the same old problem.
Yeah, good bit of play there. Fine ball down the right from Valharan, fine cross from Sutton, and the header, you know, it was a lazy header from Mjalby. Didn't get much on it, but good play. And a fine delivery by Sutton. But that header there is softly headed because he's under pressure and the ball's just about to elude the top of his head. So no threat to Rijswijk in the jeunesse goal.
Jeunesse have another chance to get the bodies forward. I can't believe that he's possibly contemplating hitting this one towards goal. He did though. Lamberel it was, didn't even make the penalty area. Celtic can get it away, and now with the big guns having committed themselves forward, Celtic have a real chance to hit Jeunesse on the counter-attack. This is Jackie McNamara. Plenty of orange shirts pushing forward.
Yeah, Moravcik leaning in there, I think clear-cut foul, but good play, good counter-attack down the right, and a long delivery from Jackie McNamara to Moravcik, but he was pushing, the elbow was in there, and the free kick correctly awarded.
Midway through the first half, 0-0 the score. Celtic in complete control.
Yeah, good width's been provided by Petr and by McNamara, but the final ball into the box hasn't been of the quality required to create clear-cut chances.
Sutton and Larsson combining well. Sutton tries his luck. Good save by Van Rijswijk. Lamberel will be able to bring the ball clear for Jeunesse. There have been plenty of signs in the pre-season friendlies and also in the 2 league games that have been played so far that the Sutton-Larsson partnership could work very well together.
Yes, it worked very well there, and all credit to Sutton, not trying to bust the ball and fire it. He tried to place it into the net, pass it crisply into the net, which is the way I see most strikers are trying to score goals now, and a good bit of interplay between the two strikers, and as you're rightly saying, Jim, they've settled well together, and there's a fine understanding already.
Sutton not quite able to get the ball past the veteran as it was speared in from Jackie McNamara on the right. I'm sure Jonathan Gould's happy that he's getting in touch with the ball every 2 or 3 minutes at the moment just to keep him honest. He's had very little to do, very little to think about so far. Here's Lubo Moravcik. And he's done well, Moravcik, not once but twice. Not 3 times though, unfortunately.
No, most uncharacteristic cross from Moravcik, whose delivery is always exceptional. That's surprising, but a terrific player. Played for many years for the Czech Republic, then now for Slovakia. He's in the fringe of things. I think they're looking at his age and saying, do we continue with him? But a favourite in the famous Czechoslovakia team, which did so well in the early 90s, the late 80s, he was outstanding. We'll whisper the fact that he was ordered off in a game in the World Cup in 1990.
Moravcik with much more experience at the highest level than all these jeunesse players put together. In terms of meaningful internationals, of course, although Van Rijswijk has played more than 40 games for his country. Larsen offside, didn't get a chance to try and test the veteran goalkeeper's shot-stopping abilities again.
Yeah, the back four are doing well. Shaq and Scholes, two central defenders, are combining well. They're looking along the line and seeing the opportunity to catch Larsen or Sutton offside. They've done it successfully, but it's a risky business. But credit to them at the present time because they've done it very successfully.
McNamara. Still Jackie McNamara. Sutton sprints forward. That was the ball that he tried to play, and in the end, Lamberel has no alternative but to just knock the ball out of play to safety for a corner.
Jackie McNamara thrusting forward, showing excellent skill, good vision, tried a clever reverse pass there to find Sutton, but it was intercepted at the expense of a corner kick, and again, the wonderful striker of a ball going out to take it. He is an object lesson for any young player in kicking with 2 feet.
Jeunesse with plenty of players back as you'd expect, appealing to the ball, had carried out a play for a goal kick. Play is allowed to continue. Lambert, the player that was judged to have brought Amodio down.
Yeah, he did indeed, and Paul Lambert was in there with a late tackle, and he brought him down okay. Lucky perhaps to escape a yellow card on that occasion.
Lamberel's free kick just invites more pressure onto Wagner. McNamara takes the throw quickly, finds Paul Lambert. Moravcik skips over one challenge before finding Larsen. Now Stefan Mahe. Petter. This is better from Celtic. And they'll have another corner.
Yeah, it would appear that Petter's under instruction to flight high ones to the back because every ball has been similar, and I think he's trying to find Sutton at the back post. And Sutton is making the run round behind, but the ball hasn't been delivered accurately enough so far.
Corner taken by Moravcik. Sutton going up for it, but the header, I think, came from Larsen in the end. Van Rijswijk was beaten. He just flew over the top of the frame of his goal. Better delivery this time from Moravcik. As a whole host of players went up for it, it was the Swede that came closest so far to scoring. Here is Lambert. Did in fact receive a very late yellow card for the foul. First name to go in the referee's notebook so far. This is Stefan Mahe. The goalkeeper waited, but had just about enough time to make sure that the ball did get there.
Good to see Mahe breaking from the back again, and there he was up in a wide left position from his central defensive role, and that's good because it's positive play from Celtic, but his delivery, in common with the others, was a bit slipshod and was slack into the front post, easily mopped up by the defence of Jeunesse.
This is the second time that Celtic and Jeunesse have been drawn together in European competition. It was the 1978 European Cup that Celtic won 11-1 on aggregate, a game late in 1977. Season that Liverpool lifted the trophy. Celtic won 6-1 here with a couple of goals from Lennox and a couple from Edvaldsen. Glavin and Craig also on the score sheet. 5-0 win at Parkhead followed with 2 more for Craig. But the class of the new millennium yet to hit the target. Some way to go if they're to catch up with their predecessors, get that emphatic 11-1 victory. Incidentally, when Skonto Riga won by 10 goals to 0 on aggregate last season, they only managed 2 here. The 8-0 victory came in the second leg in Latvia. Yusval Harrod, just too long for his fellow new signing Chris Sutton. Till with the neat play, Mahe with the robust shepherding of the ball out for a throw, much to the fury of Amodio. Moravcik. McNamara trying to stop the ball going out of play for a goal kick.
Moravcik trying to thread it through, you know, he tried the difficult pass for McNamara to move on to down the right-hand side. But McNamara just a little late in going there, and the ball overran for the corner kick. But it's hard because they're pulling all the players back when Celtic attack now. Celtic started very positively, I felt, but things have gone a little flat, and what's needed here to enliven things is a goal. A very, very poor clearance there by Celtic keeper. Uncharacteristic too, because he normally is, Gould normally clears the ball very, very well with either foot.
Celtic, though, still managed to pick up possession. The ball breaking from that poor clearance somehow to Bobby Petter inside the Jeunesse half, and they will try and start another attack with that. Moravcik going to ground. Referee said it was a fair challenge by Shuto. Dennis Shuto, a man who's played more games in the league for Jeunesse than anybody else in history. More than 350 to his credit. He's won 8 league titles in his time in Luxembourg football, which isn't bad. McNamara. Moravcik tries to supply the return ball. Again, Wagner is there to cut it out at the back.
Wagner has done very well at the back. He's been mopping up all the loose balls, all the attempted through passes, and he's shown good vision and has been excellent in this first half hour for the home side.
John Gould has only conceded 1 goal so far this season in the 2 games. We're hoping to have a similar start to this season as he had to last season, where he only let in 3 in his first 11 matches. I think it's fair to say it's odds on it could be 1 in 3 after this game. Larson supplies Moravcik. Moravcik with the second opportunity to cause mayhem. Van Rijswijk again is there.
Yeah, there's a lack of incisiveness about each Celtic attack. You know, it tends to slow down towards the end of the box and becomes quite predictable. And even a player of the calibre of Moravcik, that was a predictable cross, easily mopped up by Rijswijk.
Free kick is given for a foul on Bobby Petter, who has seen plenty of the ball in this is come back to the Celtic starting lineup. A player that's eager to take his chance under a new manager, having failed to play at all under Kenny Dalglish in terms of getting a berth in the first 11. course, a man signed by John Barnes. Moravcik with the free kick. It's bent into a dangerous area. Van Rijswijk again had to take a couple of quick steps back with Valharen lurking.
Yeah, the ball was aimed for Valharen, who just got in below it. Good goalkeeping again, but perfect delivery this time. But I think he expected Valharen to be across the goalkeeper earlier, and it was an easy catch eventually.
Moravcik this time the perpetrator of the foul. Kurtz the man that he upended. Valharen beaten to it by Bettis, who has seen very little of the ball in the opening 35 minutes or so. There is Shooter. Those Celtic fans have been waiting a long time to see a European goal. Best part of 3.5 games now. Lost to Lyon in the second round of the UEFA Cup last season, 1-0 away, and then 1-0 at home in the second leg. Lost to Hapoel Tel Aviv as well, beating them 2-1 on aggregate, but losing 1-0 on the way to that victory in Israel. Just the 2 goals that Henrik Larsson scored at home to Hapoel Tel Aviv. The first leg of the first round last year, the last goals that those die-hard travelling Celtic supporters have seen. Since when Larsson's had a lengthy spell out of the game, of course. This is his first game since breaking his leg in that horrific injury that he picked up in Lyon in the UEFA Cup last year in this competition. Lambert tries his luck, finds Larsson. Good interplay between Larsson and Sutton again as he goes for the return ball. Chance for Moravcik! And Celtic lead. 36 minutes it's taken, but finally the deadlock is broken. And Moravcik, who's been as dangerous as any of the Celtic players in the opening period, deserving the goal.
Yes, very delicate play there. Excellent pass from Larsson into the path of Moravcik, who finished competently. He didn't strike it with his usual venom, but he got enough on it, and it went through the legs, I think, of Lamborel and into the net. But Celtic were deserving that goal. It was coming for a while, but it was a soft one, I think, when eventually it did come. And Moravcik, a fine striker of the football, great reader of the game, and he was up in support of the front, as he's been asked to do, and deserved to score.
It's Luka Moravcik's first appearance of the season, consequently his first goal of the season, his 16th for Celtic in all. Bobby Pettit couldn't quite keep his feet as he threatened to get into a dangerous position, and referee Casler Ferris again is going to produce the yellow card. Clemency challenge at best by Teal. Sorry, Craig.
Yeah, I was just going to say this is a dangerous situation for Jeunesse, because the expertise of Larsson, I think, could be shown here. Alternatively, Moravcik, but Henrik Larsson is magnificent when it comes to a free kick round about the box.
Well, there's no way that that wall is 10 yards away. Henrik Larsson prepares to strike the free kick with the ball less than 20 yards from goal. Van Rijswijk, a nervous-looking observer as he hopes that the 5-man wall will do its job. It's taken by Larsson, couldn't quite get the ball to do enough.
No, he didn't work the ball there, as he often has done in the past. It was another softly taken free kick, and possession now given through a goal kick to Rijswijk. He wasn't under any pressure. The wall jumped, coordinated its jump well. It was a good synchronised jump we see in the wall, and it would have made it difficult in any event for Larsson to get it over the wall and score, but it was a poorly taken, I think, by his own standards. I don't think he'll be happy with that one.
Here's Moravcik again. Again, he's causing problems. Wagner was the player that eventually stopped him, but Moravcik picking the ball up inside his own half. Lost possession moments later, about 10 yards from the corner flag. Burrell again taking no chances. Celtic unlucky as the ball ricocheted through the midfield off Paul Lambert. Good skill by Amodio. He's done very well, the striker, and continues his run forward. Mahe stopped him getting on the end of what would have been Jeunesse's best move of the game.
Yeah, burst of pace there, a surprising burst of pace from Amodio, who looked extremely quick. He was going in behind Mahe, but the ball was intercepted, fortunately for Celtic, because had it got into his path, anything could have happened there. But this striker, working up there on his own, doing a good shift, and trying extremely hard, has displayed on one or two occasions a fair turn of pace.
Paolo Amodio, as you would expect, has some Italian blood in him. Both his parents are from Rome. He's a regular, though, in the Luxembourg side. Only 10 caps to his credit, which almost belies that fact, but he's very much one of the first names on the sheet at the moment. Vidar Riseth has almost strolled through the game, had precious little to do. It's the one corner won by the hosts at the moment. They've had a free kick from 35 yards, which didn't even get halfway to goal. Henrik Larsson gives away the free kick this time. A shove on Scholes.
I think everyone glad to see Larsson back to full fitness after his spell in Euro 2000. He wasn't in the Celtic team for the latter part of last season after his horrendous injury, but he played well for Sweden in the European Championship, and now started the season in sprightly form for Celtic. And I think Martin O'Neill was just saying that when Sutton's fitness, his match fitness, gets to the same level as that of Larsson, they will have a formidable striking partnership.
Many despaired when Mark Viduka left for pastures new. Multi-million-pound move to Leeds United, but for now the same money, Chris Sutton has replaced him.
Yeah, I can't say the Leeds fans are in for a treat, because Viduka has tremendous skill for a big fella, strikes the ball well, and has every attribute to be the top-class striker, which he undoubtedly is.
Although eyebrows were raised when Chris Sutton signed after that ill-fated spell for Chelsea, there were many people who saw Sutton in European action last season who felt as though he didn't get the credit that he deserved. Say some of his best Chelsea games for the European Cup. So much more than a goal getter, much more to his game than that. Tireless worker off the ball, very, very strong target man. I think Sutton felt as though his detractors and critics only chose to look at the statistics and the fact that his goal ratio for Chelsea was on the poor side. Here's Moravcik trying to thread it forward again. Having said all that, of course, Chris Sutton will be the first to admit that he has something to prove with his new club.
Yeah, he's got a tremendous platform on which to prove his worth, because, as I said earlier, the environment at Celtic Park tremendous, the support, the infrastructure, everything about the club is geared for success, not just domestically but in Europe. And with their long-standing rivals Rangers, both Glasgow clubs have got everything going for them, and I'm sure that Sutton will relish the opportunity to show his talents in this environment, not just domestically but, as I said, in the European arena.
It was Sutton that tried to supply the through ball there. Who else but Moravcik that was giving chase, pushing forward from the midfield. He's had a fine first 45 minutes, capped by the goal, which is the only one so far. Wagner loses out to Mjällby. Now Larsson, Petrus pushed forward. Larsson trying his luck from a tight angle, didn't want to pull it back to the whole host of players waiting on the edge of the penalty area for it. Forced a fine save out of Van Rijswijk.
Yeah, good goal, good pass rather from his Swedish teammate, and it looked like a goal, but a fine save from Rijswijk from a good shot from this man, Henrik Larsson. That was a nice Swedish move there on the edge of the box from Celtic.
Moravcik with the corner. Looked as though there was perhaps a suspicion of a push on Sutton as Shark tried to stop him getting there. Panic in the jeunesse back line again. Celtic will settle for a throw which Bobby Petty will take. Now Paul Lambert. See the idea as Petter push forward. There will be just 60 seconds to play in terms of injury time at the end of the 45 minutes, which has seen Schutter receive a little bit of treatment for the knock to the face, but other than that, it's been pretty routine stuff.
Yeah, very sporting first half, well refereed. I think the bookings were justified, and it's been an easy game in which to take part, and also an easy game to officiate in, and the referee's done well. The Greek referee, and I don't think he would have anticipated any problems. There certainly haven't been any, and the game is settled.
Magnificent ball from Larsson. Sutton is in the centre. Moravcik tries to play it across, but his reward is only Celtic's sixth corner of the half. But that arguably the pass of the match by Larsson to get them going down the right.
Yeah, good pass, and equally a good attempt of a pass across the face of the goal from Moravcik.
As it's swept by Valharan, and he didn't get the purchase on it that he wanted to from very close range, and it could so easily have been 2-0 to Celtic with almost the last kick of the half.
Yeah, that was a great chance, good supporting run from Valharan, and then he took his eye off the ball, I think, momentarily, and didn't quite make the contact which he hoped.
The half-time whistle goes. Celtic with a good 45 minutes, very comfortable, although didn't perhaps have as much in the way of goal-mouth action as they would have wanted to. The one goal from Lubo Moravcik, what separates them and Jeunesse at half-time, Craig, but certainly Jeunesse can have no complaints about being behind, none at all.
None at all, no, they deserve to be behind, but I think Celtic, who started, I thought, very well, were less incisive as the half progressed, and the goal, although deserved, was not a great goal. It was a good bit of interplay, but a final shot was rather softly hit by Moravcik. It went through Lamborel's legs and into the back of the net. A goal, I think, in keeping with the play towards the end of the first half. I'm sure Martin O'Neill will look for more urgency in the second half. He'll ask Celtic to go out, play at pace in the first
fortnight's time. Well, we're back with more live football on New Direct Sports.
To not lost that vital away goal would have been perfect, in a perfect position, but the away goal could be crucial, and they'll have to play out of their skins in Munich.
Well, that's in this season already, this fledgling season. Just the two bookings so far, Thiel of Jeunesse and Lambert of Celtic. And one thing that Martin O'Neill will be exhorting of his players, I'm sure, is that there are no further cautions, no further worries for what would stack up to hurt Celtic perhaps later on in the European campaign, which we all hope will be a far-reaching European campaign. It will be Jeunesse that get the second half off and running with plenty to do. And an early touch at the back for Shark and also for his centre-half partner Scholes. Clearance by McNamara, a little bit on the hopeful side, and the referee's assistant just getting the decision wrong for a moment. He gave the throw Celtic's way, very quickly corrected it.
I think he had forgotten to change ends at the interval. It was quite an instinctive wave of the flag there, giving the throw to Celtic but pointing in the wrong direction.
That will also be a throw to Celtic. And it will be Just Valharan who will take it, the man signed for a smidge under £4 million from Roda Kerkrade in Holland.
Yeah, and I think students of the game will be interested to note that it's the centre-back who comes out to take the throw-ins in the wide areas, not the wide midfield player, and that's quite standard for teams playing three at the back these days. I recall 7 years ago, doing that with the national team, and people looking askance and saying, why is the centre-back taking the throw? But the reason is obvious, because most teams leave only one up against the throw, and there are 2 defenders there still remaining against the 1 striker.
He shoots up, and Wagner. Referee not happy with the challenge which came in on Valharan from Kurtz, and has in fact spotted the ball went out of play as well, so he's given the throw.
Yeah, and when it gets into the forward area, you see McNamara taking over, because we don't want our central defender up at the opposing penalty box taking a throw in case there's a quick counter-attack. But for most of the side, the centre-back will come and take the throw, and now it's McNamara doing the job up in the wider forward area.
McNamara with a second chance to try and find one of his forward players, and again he looks for Larson. Moravchik among the players in the penalty areas. McNamara bends it in looking for Sutton. Clearance completed by Kurtz, the deep lying midfielder. Reset up there. The referee gives the free kick against Mialbi.
And rightly so. Mialbi's leg was high, and it was a despairing kind of tackle, but admittedly both were up. I thought though that Betis didn't quite look as aggressive as Mialbi, and the free kick's given to jeunesse.
Taken by Lambarel. Celtic playing brightly at the beginning of this second half with Paul Lambert. Now McNamara. Larson and Sutton both wait. Larson leaves it for the Englishman. Larson, beautiful layoff again. Here's Jackie McNamara. Sutton takes up his position at the far post. Not dealt with effectively by Shuto. Sutton on the turn! Van Rijswijk got down to make sure that the ball was going to elude the post. Celtic starting the second half as they finish the first.
Yeah, I think you can tell that Martin O'Neill sends them out in a very positive frame of mind. They started the first half in an aggressive mood. They've started the second half in similar fashion. That was a good chance there. Ball laid in nicely from Mialbi into the path of Sutton, who turned and tried a shot, but it was a weak one and it went tamely past. But positive play from Celtic. And there was Sutton's shot, just tantalisingly going past the left-hand post of Rijswijk.
Martin O'Neill has European experience as a manager, obviously as a player. He's been a member of the 1979 European Cup winning side with Nottingham Forest, but he also led Leicester City into Europe the first year that they won the League Cup. And for a long time, out at Atletico Madrid, they led through an Ian Marshall goal, only to eventually lose 4-1 on aggregate. Chasing the game at Filbert Street, they let slip 2 late goals, which didn't really give a sense of perspective about the overall scoreline. That Martin O'Neill's only previous experience of management in European competition. I think he would admit that this is very much a learning curve for him, as well as some of the lesser experienced amongst his players, the likes of Healy and Birchall on the bench for Celtic tonight.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether he brings on some replacements from the bench. He's got a very strong bench. If you add Tommy Johnson and Berkovic, you know, you've got very talented outfield players. I don't think he'll need Raphael or Tebele, they're defenders.
Here's McNamara, neglecting to take the early opportunity to play in Chris Sutton. Valharan, the player that's pushed forward from the back. He was unlucky as he tried to keep his feet and flick the ball back out towards Jackie McNamara. Reset misses the header. It gives a chance for Betis. Now Amodio. That's hopeful in the extreme.
Yeah, no chance from there. Amodio, he was up in support of his fellow striker Betis. They've alternated from one up to one off, and it's usually Amodio who's the forward one, but on that occasion it was Betis with Amodio just playing behind, and they combined reasonably well, but the final shot actually offered no threat whatsoever to Jonathan Gould in the Celtic goal.
There is Eric Brusco, who celebrates his 39th birthday next week, the jeunesse coach. The more pensive of the two there. He's also a Frenchman, and like his players, he's also an amateur. He works actually in France, just over the border. The town of Esch, where this game's taking place tonight, is just near the French border, not that far from Metz. Comfortably dealt with again by Valhaeren.
Yeah, Coots didn't have the legs to take on Valhaeren there, although he's enthusiastically made a run from midfield, which is encouraging, and I do think that the coach of the home side will be emerging with a little credit at the moment, because his team has stood up to Celtic very well. They've coped admirably, I think, at the back, restricting Celtic to very few real goal-scoring chances.
Any form of positive result would be seen as a sensational victory as far as the Luxembourg side are concerned, particularly in the light of their slightly disappointing European record over the years. The last game that they won, not tie that they won, the last game that they won was some 12 years ago, beating Aarhus of Denmark 1-0 here, only to lose 4-1 away from home. The last tie that they won was against Hacker of Finland back in 1963.
Well, you know, that would be understandable if they weren't regularly in Europe, but they are. They're regular representatives of Luxembourg. But let's be fair, Luxembourg has only about 400,000 people.
Now a chance for Pedder to supply decent ball for Larsen. Good save. Wonderful save. Henrik Larsen had so much time. You can't quite believe that he didn't put it away. Moravcik. Mjalby. Chris Sutton made for the return ball but was obstructed. This was the chance though, Craig.
This was a great chance, and Larsen on his own at the back scores 9 times out of 10 with chances like that, but excellent goalkeeping. Rice-White was tremendous. A terrific ball in from the left by Petag. Good down header, but too straight and well saved. I'm sure Henrik Larsen will be reproaching himself there, because he usually knocks them in without any difficulty whatsoever. It's excellent here.
I think the facial expression says it all. However, he has got the instant chance to try and test Van Rijswijk again.
It was good refereeing giving that free kick, because it was off the ball and Sutton was making for the return pass and was impeded.
Well, Larsen has taken his place further forward. It will be Moravcik who tries his luck. And again, he wasn't far away. The Celtic players who were well placed, Sutton and McNamara, both claiming that it took a deflection out of the wall on its way past the frame.
Yeah, interesting to see Moravcik taking it. Last time it was Larsen. That just scraped past the left-hand post. Didn't hit any defender. There was no legitimate claim for a corner kick.
Well, John Van Rijswijk will be very satisfied with his night's work so far, the 38-year-old. When he was originally signed back at the club, it was only as reserve goalkeeper, but the departure of Philippe Felgen, who played for Luxembourg against England in both the Euro 2000 qualifiers, has meant that Van Rijswijk takes control again for this season.
Yeah, and on his form tonight, it wouldn't surprise me if Paul Philippe, the longest-serving manager of Europe, the national team manager of Luxembourg, recalls him, because he's played many times for Paul Philippe, the coach of Luxembourg, and I'm sure on tonight's performance you cannot discount him. He's been absolutely excellent.
He's the longest-serving European international manager. Who's the second longest, Greg?
I don't know, another old man.
Another old man sitting not far away from me. Your words, not mine. Celtic win a throw.
Honestly, you've got to admit certain things.
Here's Larsen. Now Jackie McNamara as Celtic try and turn their complete superiority into a more advantageous scoreline. They won't do it with that. Reseth, the judge, to have pulled back Betis.
Yeah, it looked 50-50 to me. I thought maybe Reseth was fouled, but the referee has been first class all night, and there's no reason to dispute it.
And that's a wonderful ball in behind Mialbi. And Amodio couldn't take the chance that came his way. But all of a sudden, Mialbi was there with panic etched across his face, knowing that he'd been beaten for the first time tonight.
Yeah, and Amodio's first touch let him down. What a chance he had there, but allowed Jonathan Gould, who's very good at leaving his line, to come out quickly and mop up the danger.
Meanwhile, Chris Sutton will take up the cudgels for Celtic. McNamara on the overlap, as he has been consistently all evening. Scholes, who was with the challenge on Jackie McNamara, who has been 5 years a Celtic player now, since signing from Dunfermline as a youngster. Now Sutton, wonderful through ball as well. Moravcik, that is a stunning goal, made by Sutton, executed by Moravcik, and Celtic finally get a second.
Yes, it's passes like that that make Sutton worth his transfer fee, not only goal scoring but goal creating, and the most two-footed player in Britain, in my opinion. Moravcik, doesn't matter either foot, he dispatched it brilliantly with his left foot into the far corner. Great goal by Lubo Moravcik. Terrific pass from Sutton, and Celtic now are posting the rest of the match.
Well, just moments after a potentially defence-splitting ball at the other end of the pitch, Sutton shows that he can produce that kind of wonderful pass as well. And it was a sublime moment from Chris Sutton.
Yeah, I think any youngster watching Moravcik play can see how two-footed he is. That, I think, was his less good foot, although, you know, the coaches at Celtic have all said to me, we don't know. I cannot tell you. I say, is he right-footed or left-foot? I'm told they don't know, and really no one knows it apart from Moravcik himself, but you couldn't tell. Well, that was brilliantly dispatched from his left foot into the far corner. When he takes corners, it's either foot, one step, and he delivers brilliantly.
Celtic still on course for the 10-0 win against Jeunesse on aggregate. Scott Riga, who performed that feat against the Luxembourg side last year, only won 2-0 here for looking the 8 passing on Latvia, and Jeunesse still with no sign at all of being able to stop their part of the bargain at the other end and actually score a goal. Celtic, of course, won 10-0 themselves at this stage last year. Here's Sutton looking for Larson. Still Chris Sutton goes, and the deflection loops away for a corner.
Yes, he used Larson as a decoy there, went on his own, and only a despairing tackle prevented him from getting a shot on target. But a corner kick for Celtic, and it'll be interesting to see which foot is used by Moravcik.
Will be his left this time. Bending the ball in towards the goalkeeper, and more significantly Larson. Amodio gets the ball clear.
Yeah, forgive me enthusing about the striking of the ball, but that was perfect. Right onto Larson's head, in swinging corner with his left foot.
2/3 of the way through the first leg. Celtic coasting at the moment. Valharan. Now Paul Lambert. Mahe. Mialbi. Now Larson with a great chance for a third.
Well, there it was, the Sutton-Larson combination. Much was expected of that pairing, and already the justification is there to be seen. A great header on, And wonderful control by Larson, and what a tremendous finish that was. And that would have scored at the highest level, not only against the part-timers of Luxembourg. Tremendous goal, Sutton's header, control from Larson, and a one-touch finish with outside of his foot. Reminiscent of many goals he's already scored for Celtic, for Feyenoord, and of course for Sweden.
I don't want to be guilty of eulogising about Chris Sutton too much, but it's just a case in point really of what we've been saying as Larson comes off. Celtic making their first substitution. Tommy Johnson will come on to replace Larson, who scored 4 UEFA Cup goals for Celtic last season. And his final contribution here in Luxembourg, as he's congratulated by Steve Walford, is his first UEFA Cup goal of this season. His second of the season all told, and it takes his magnificent striking record for Celtic to 71 in 112 games.
It's absolutely tremendous, and you know, the creator of the goals there, last 2 goals, wonderfully created by Sutton for Moravcik and for Larson, and I'm sure that Martin O'Neill will be very happy. Brian Scott, the physio, sitting beside Larson, just making sure there's no injury. John Clark, the famous Lisbon Lion, along the row there, looking on, wondering if Celtic in the foreseeable future can repeat the achievement which he had, winning the European Cup. That would be a tremendous achievement for Glasgow and for Celtic.
Mjällby. Header away will be picked up by Colin Healy, who's also come onto the fray as Celtic were celebrating that third goal. Healy, the young Irishman who has produced some very accomplished displays on the right-hand side of the midfield. Another chance for him to shine tonight.
Yeah, Healy's a talented young player, you know, much of it is expected of him, and I'm sure he'll justify that. The faith that all coaches, all recent coaches of Celtic, John Barnes, Kenny Dalglish, and I know even Dr. Joe Venglos before thought that Healy was one for the future. Now he's getting his chance wide on the right here, and I'm sure he'll excel in the last part of this game.
McNamara will take the throw as Jeunesse prepare to bring on their first substitute, Ludovic Nice, who's a striker. Lambert. Now Johnson. Tommy Johnson with almost his first touch. Van Rijswijk was equal to that, but he knows that what's 3 after 64 minutes probably won't be 3 after 90, the way things have been going for Celtic in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and who was the creator of that opportunity for Tommy Johnson? None other than Chris Sutton.
Now Petter. Good defensive work. Celtic with their 10th corner of the game. Jeunesse, though, first of all, will be making that change with Ludovic Nice coming on. Celtic threaten to run riot now. Nice coming on to replace Kurtz. Ludovic Nice is seen by many as being the long-term replacement for Patrick Morakuti, the free-scoring Luxembourg international who's recently retired. In comes the corner from Moravcik. Good delivery again, but the referee had spotted an infringement on the edge of the 6-yard box involving Sutton.
Yeah, there we had an excellent right foot delivery from the left, typical of Moravcik, but an infringement seen by this excellent referee from Greece.
So Nice replacing Kurtz, and confirmation of those 2 Celtic substitutions. Johnson and Healy coming on to replace Larson and McNamara respectively. That was an all-good looking fall. Nice's first contribution is to make a back for one of the Celtic players. It was Vidar Riseth who went the long way over the top, but well, it looked as though he possibly fell on the back of his head. He is fit to continue. And here's Bobby Petter relishing his chance to get a place in the starting lineup, hoping that he can be as deadly a supplier as Chris Sutton has been. Yalby. Petter. Lambert.
Yeah, Paul Lambert has scored from there in the past, but there was no danger with that one. I think he just got underneath that, leaning back a little, and over the top it went. But, you know, good supporting play from Paul Lambert. And they're going to rest him. They're resting Larson, they're resting McNamara and Lambert, I think, if it is Lambert who's being replaced.
First of all, though, it will be another jeunesse substitution with Betis coming off, and he will be replaced by another striker, Philippe Dillman, and would you believe, yet another French traffic warden. And Raphael will come on to replace Paul Lambert for Celtic, who've used their full quota of 3 substitutes. Raphael has still played less than 2 hours of competitive football for Celtic since his move from Grêmio, primarily because, of course, he's had that knee ligament problem.
That's right. Well, I was in Brazil for the Club World Championship in January, and I asked a few people about Raphael, and everyone was extremely positive about him. He's apparently one of the best young players in Brazil, and that's quite a recommendation. No one was in any doubt that Raphael's an outstanding defender in Brazilian football, so I haven't seen much of him myself for Celtic, but I'm anxious to have a look at him in view of the recommendation that he received from, not just from journalists, but from coaches and from players over in Brazil.
The original free kick had to be replayed because the ball was moving. Shuto will take it the second attempt. Petter powerless to stop possession going back to the Luxembourg side, 3/4 of the way through this game. Celtic still good value for a 3-0 lead. It could be even more conclusive than that. Everybody except for the 16 or so players in the black and white stripes and the coaching staff, and I would imagine the 16 or so fans will be relishing the game at Parkhead in a fortnight's time. A couple of late goals now, and you never know whether that 11-1 win against Jeunesse by Celtic in the European Cup of 77-78 could be repeated after all. Here's Moravcik, who scored 2 of Celtic's 3 goals tonight. Raphael calling for the ball, still to receive his first touch. It's conceivable he might not get one. Healy, and here he is, there's the commentator's curse.
Yeah,
straight away.
They've moved them into the right side of the back 3. And Reset is still central, and Mulharen on the left-hand side, with Mahe pushing forward on the left, supporting Bobby Petter.
Shuto evades the challenge of Mahe in the midfield. The referee deemed it unfair, but allowed play to continue. Luxembourg side getting no real advantage. Moravcik closed down very quickly by Nice, the substitute, who did well to dispossess him. And breaking forward is Dillman. Celtic again answering the vague questions which come their way. Mahe covering for Valharen. Now Moravcik. Got time to survey his options. Till comes back to try and make the challenge as the low ball was whipped in and Sutton was close, not quite close enough.
Yeah, I think all Moravcik was looking for was a touch from Sutton or any other forward, but it was a ball driven across the face of the box, comfortably handled by Ricewhite, but a dangerous one again from Moravcik. I think it's interesting to see that Celtic have pushed Mahi into midfield and more on the left side. I think they're trying to exploit Tull, who looks to be tiring, and a weakness in the right side of the defence for jeunesse.
Well, we've talked about the Luxembourg side's fine record in European competition, having failed to win a single game since 1988 and a single tie since 1963. They have, in fact, played 61 games in Europe. They've conceded 202 goals in those 61 games. They've won 7, drawn 7, and lost 47. This will be their 48th European defeat tonight. Celtic will be hoping that their 50th UEFA Cup tie, which will take place at Parkhead in a fortnight's time, will see them hopefully break some records against one of the weaker sides that they've played in European competition in the recent past. But then you can only beat the side that you're drawn against in these cup competitions. Celtic winning the free kick for a foul on Johnson.
Yeah, quite noticeable that the coach, O'Neill, Martin O'Neill, has chosen Johnson in preference to Burchell. Burchell reputed to have asked for a transfer, and if he's going to leave, what's the point in bringing him on? That would be the philosophy, I think, adopted by the coach. So he's giving the opportunity to Tommy Johnson rather than to Mark Burchell.
Tommy Johnson has only made 20 league appearances in 3 years at Celtic. Such as have been the injury problems he's had. He has, in fact, got a magnificent goal-scoring record for the boys. 16 goals in 25 games he scored for Celtic in all competition, which, when you consider that he's been used as a substitute as often as he started, is a fine record. Here is Johnson, scorer of 2 hat-tricks in the SPL last year. Healy. This time Moravcik crops up on the right-hand side. Johnson, Petter, Sutton, Petter. And again, it's Till that comes across to sweep up at the back for Jeunesse, who are tiring visibly and know that they've got plenty more hard work to do between now and the full-time whistle.
Yes, they have. They've more than 15 minutes to survive and not concede another one, but it looks likely that Celtic could add to the lead.
They came close from the corner. Cleared by the Luxembourg back line after a fashion. Moravcik again involved with another pinpoint delivery. Very close to bending it directly in himself. Sutton and Raphael, the 2 players who are up there close to getting a touch. Tommy Johnson, all 6 substitutes now on the pitch. Johnson one of those. Sutton lets the ball run for Moravcik. Till going across the cover. Moravcik slips inside towards Healy. Sutton's there, Mahe was there as well. Healy tried his luck. Moravcik again. Mialbi. And he might consider himself very unlucky. It appeared as though Lamberel fell over the ball.
Yeah, it looked 50-50 to me, but you know, they both went in very, very strongly, and I think the little Greek guy, I know it's etsiketsi, which means, you know, comme ci, comme ça. And I think that was an etsiketsi one. I learned I've got one word of Greek.
I think you could be generous and call it 2, Craig. Nobody would know.
Well, I don't know whether there's a hyphen there or what, but that I know that is so-so. It's a kid.
And now, in a more than so-so performance, Johnson tries to provide a 4th and can't quite do so.
Yeah, he had the chance there. Went for it with his left foot when it looked as though a right-footed one over the top of the goalkeeper. Rice White would have done the trick, but you know, good play by Tommy Johnson. A bit unlucky.
Well, the defenders retreating had no chance. Lambarel and Xhaka being able to stop the ball had it been aimed by Tommy Johnson on target. Mialbi's header. Shuto. Referee not happy with the challenge from Yusufal Harrod.
Yeah, I think it's ideal preparation for him for the more arduous competition in front of him throughout the long Scottish season and in Europe, to get settled in with his new colleagues in a fairly comfortable environment.
Help back into the fray, and problems now for Celtic as Nace played it across, and Mialbi was there to stop the danger being too prevalent inside the 6-yard box, but it is only the second corner that Jeunesse have won.
Yeah, good determined play by Mialbi. He's one in the middle of that pitch who's never stopped throughout this match, and he won't allow anything to happen in front of goal without a determined effort, and we saw him coming right across there to block and give away a corner, which is just as well. It looked a very dangerous one.
Helped back in by Shuto, but cleared by Celtic. Moravcik. Good vision to take the free kick quickly.
Yeah, he took it quickly, but Tommy Johnson hadn't ordered his taxi, and he just allowed it to run along.
$4,004 in the crowd. Not the biggest place in the world. Esch, this mining town. Might be a few more in a fortnight's time watching the second leg.
Yeah, I think there could be 40,000 more, but maybe that's an optimistic thought. But Celtic fans do turn out to see their team, irrespective of the opposition. They're very loyal and very supportive.
Another safe catch by John Gould, who hasn't had a lot to do. Now Nace, who's looked bright since he's come on, the substitute. That's a good reverse pass. Dillman. Good challenge coming in by Reset. Jeunesse have, if nothing else, fought gamely, haven't given up. Shuto beaten by Healy. More to his game than just a potent attacking midfielder. Sutton inch perfect again. Player that thrives on confidence as much as Chris Sutton does. He may have set up 2 of Celtic's 3 goals tonight and had a hand in the other one as well. If he were to get a goal in the last 10 minutes, we don't know just what that might do to him. He could look down and see that he's scored 2 in his 3 Celtic games so far. And it's on foundations like that that very promising things could emerge. And here's Petter. Wow, that is a strike of quality from Bobby Petter, marking his recall to the Celtic starting lineup in fine style, as everybody was waiting for the ball to be played into the target man. Petter used them all as decoys and capped a fine performance with a fine goal.
Yeah, that was an excellent solo goal from Petter. He took possession of the ball just inside his own half and came right through the left-hand side of the defence, beat one man, beat 2 men in between the last 2, and fired a brilliant left-foot shot into the back of the net. An excellent individual goal from Petter, fully justifying his inclusion tonight.
Petter with the 4th for Celtic. We do get the impression that 9 minutes constitutes plenty of time to get at least one more.
Yeah, I did say that when the legs got tired, the part-time players would feel the pace, and there was a great chance towards the end of the match for Celtic to get 1 or 2 goals, and that opportunity still exists, and it wouldn't be surprising if more goals were scored here.
Valharan. Reset. Petter getting a warm round of applause every time he touches the ball now. We're talking about the effects that goals and performances can have on players. Bobby Petter will have taken great heart from what he's done tonight. Here's Healy. Good run by Colin Healy. Just lost his footing as the challenge came in from the substitute Maylander.
Yes, I don't want to label Healy and be accused of giving him a look-alike, but he's not unlike McManaman in style of play. Although I might be asking a lot of him to hit the heights that McManaman hit a year or 2 ago, but he's the same type of rangy runner, he's the same type of build as McManaman, and if he does as well, I'm sure manager O'Neill will be very, very pleased.
Colin Healy's a player whose long-term future is assured for Celtic. He signed a new 3.5-year contract back in January and got a fairly extended run in the Celtic side at the end of last season, starting 5 of the last 6 league games. Just the 1 goal for Celtic so far, but he's another player that's got far more to his game. Obviously, he's an attacking midfielder than prowess in and around the penalty area. Johnson. Raphael's pushed forward in support. Healy plays the ball the other way. Almost found the head of Johnson.
Yeah, maybe the wrong option there, but it was a good ball from Healy. Cross to the left, although you quite correctly stated that Tommy Johnson made a run down the right, but good play. And Celtic are so much in control that it must be a bit embarrassing for the jeunesse side to see the ball be played from man to man, and they're hardly making any contact.
Now Shuto. One of the rare sorties into the final third as far as jeunesse are concerned. Shuto's done well to get the ball past Mialbi, having done the hard work. He presented it straight to reset. Celtic can start again with Mahe. Till make sure that Mahe's ball up the left-hand flank for Johnson was cut out. John Till is a Luxembourg international. His brother also played for his country. Slight mental aberration by Healy gives the throw jeunesse's way. They'll be very pleased to hear the full-time whistle, which is at least 5.5 minutes away. Now Marapchik. Here's Healy. It's a good ball forward. That was surely handball by Amodio as he tried to bring it underneath his control. The referee apparently would have allowed play to continue, judging it to be ball striking hand.
Yeah, Amodio put Reset under a bit of pressure there, pace-wise, and was surging away from him, but a good scoring tackle.
And that's a good tackle as well by Shuto. And here is Amodio. He's got goal side. Good save by Jonathan Gould. He's had precious little to do, but when he does have something, he saves his side and saves the clean sheet.
Yeah, it's excellent goalkeeping there from Amodio. Again, got a pass Reset because of his pace, but excellent goalkeeping from Jonathan Gould, who narrowed the angle well, stood up to the shot and saved it in expert fashion. Just what Celtic needed there to keep the score sheet blank.
the second time in about 60 seconds, Amodio causing problems with his pace.
Yeah, we were just talking about his pace there, and he confirmed it because he streaked away from reset, went to a great goal-scoring position, but excellent goalkeeping kept the score sheet long.
Celtic go hunting for a fifth, but Sutton had little chance despite some extraordinarily errant goalkeeping by Van Rijswijk. Just about gets away with it the second time. Shuto looked for Amodio, cut out comfortably by Raphael. Seemed to be a nasty fall as Lamberel went to ground, clutching his right ankle. Amodio will do his best to try and create something for Jeunesse, but it's going to be some treatment for Lamberel.
Yeah, I think it was Raphael who went in very, very heavily and late there, and undoubtedly committed a foul from a late tackle.
He might be struggling to turn up for work for the gas board in Luxembourg tomorrow.
Well, I think from the Celtic point of view, Raphael's lucky if he escapes a yellow card for that tackle, because it was late, it was quite violent.
Obviously a 4-0 win for Celtic was pretty much what was expected, Craig, but I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you how you think their pretensions for UEFA Cup success will go this season.
Well, I think there's a bit to come from Celtic yet. There's no Boyd here, there's no Petrov, for example, and I don't think the fitness of one or two, for example, Sutton, is at peak level yet. So Celtic have a bit to go. It's very difficult to judge against the Luxembourg part-timers, but I do think there is a quality about the Celtic playing staff which I'm sure Martin O'Neill will bring out the best from, because when you look at the players individually, they have good players, and they are not all that far away, if at all, short of Rangers in Scotland in terms of quality of player. But in terms of, I would say, consistency, they're well short of they were in the past, and a bit of stability in the management position I think will make all the difference to Celtic, and I would expect them to have a very good season and to challenge domestically and to have a good season in Europe as well.
Confirmation that Raphael was booked. Mialbi appeared to be run into there by Dillman, the substitute. And he's the second jeunesse player to be in some distress in as many minutes.
Yeah, that was another heavy tackle, but I think more 50-50 than the last one, and you know, Mialbi went certainly in heavily, and as is his wont, he doesn't stand in ceremony in the middle of that park. You know, he's a great man to have on your side because of his energy and his aggression and his enthusiasm, and the Swedes find that at national level and Celtic find it at club level.
There are certain high-profile adversaries of Johan Mialbi that have also found that to their cost in recent internationals.
Yes, I do know that he scored against a team from south of the Scottish border in the qualifying campaign. Yes, you were asking about Celtic, and I do think stability in the coaching role and the management role that will be provided by Martin O'Neill will bring Celtic on, and I would expect them to have a good season.
3 minutes of time will be added on before Jeunesse are put out of their misery for a fortnight. Celtic searching for a fifth in injury time. And Petter, who supplied the fourth, will try and supply something for Sutton. Van Rijswijk was out very gratefully. Good interplay again by the Jeunesse midfielders. There's Borbiconi. Nace gets the return ball as well, and a second time. Petter tracking all the way back to make sure that the jeunesse move looked pretty and nothing else. Here's Riseth.
Yeah, good disciplined play there from Petter, coming all the way back to defend when required. He could be resting in his laurels after the excellent fourth goal, but no, he's doing his defensive duties conscientiously. We're giving a lot of credit to Celtic, but Amodio has missed as good a chance as there has been in the match, and Jonathan Gould has made a save which was outstanding, and quite frankly we haven't had Ricewhite make a really good save so far. Celtic have missed a few chances, but he hasn't been called upon to make excellent saves from the goalkeeping point of view. And in contrast, Gould has made the save of the match just a few minutes ago against Amodio.
There's only been one sort of really clear-cut opportunity that Celtic missed. That was the header from Henrik Larsson when he was in a good position. The goalkeeper was powerless to do a lot about it. He just happened to be in the right place, really.
I think he was in the right place. Good goalkeeping, but he was in the right place at the right time. And, you know, the ball hit him. Had Henrik Larsson knocked it either side, as we would have expected, it would have been a certainty.
Shuto will give chase in vain. If Mahe had kept that in, it would have been a fine piece of play, but it had just eluded him and crept over the line. Sutton still harrying and hassling his opponents this late into the game.
Yeah, significant that Martin O'Neill has rested Lambert in the match, has rested Larsson, but he's giving Sutton the full 90 minutes to enhance his match fitness.
The full-time whistle goes, and it's been another thoroughly professional performance from Glasgow Celtic. 2 goals from Luba Moravcik, and Larsson and Petter also getting involved in the goal-scoring act. A fine performance, despite the fact that he didn't get on the score sheet from Chris Sutton. And Celtic, like Rangers 24 hours before them, doing the job comfortably and setting up what will be a very, very routine second leg.
Yes, it will be a routine second leg in a fortnight at Celtic Park, but great credit to Celtic, because it sometimes is awkward to play in a small stadium against the underdog team, but they made it very easy. They got the goal early on, and thereafter it was a procession, and could have added to their goal-scoring tally. But I think it's so comfortable now for Celtic, and deserved.
McDonald also talks exclusively about the controversial Raphael transfer and the way forward for Celtic.
I think if we've done one thing, we've put to bed the myth that Kenny can come up and rescue Celtic. I mean, that didn't happen, and he wasn't the man to do it, and we all know that now. And it's been a painful and an expensive lesson. And you know, and one that I'll regret for a very, very long time. But you know, you've got to address it. We didn't get it right. We addressed it very quickly, and I believe now we've got a management that will lead Celtic to success. And the most important decision you can take in a football club, if I've learned one thing about this business, the most important decision is getting the management appointment right. And you know, when we brought Kenny and John on board, that was the first time that Celtic had ever paid real money for a manager. So we got the decision right that we had to pay real money to get the right person, but that time we got the person wrong. This time we've continued with the principle, pay money to get the right person, and hopefully, and all the signs are there, we've got the selection of the person right. So the Celtic club is saying, well, we will pay the right money to get the right manager, and we've demonstrated that now on 2 occasions. One didn't pay off, and hopefully this one will.
Let me ask you this, Alan. Has the Dalglish experience taught you not to get too close to Martin O'Neill on a personal basis, on a friendly basis? Because you and Kenny were pals.
Well, I think that, I mean, I'm a friendly type person, Jim, and the way I work is to be friendly with the people I work with. And to be friendly, I mean, I would say that many of my friends in life are being my business friends as well as associates. And yeah, I mean, I think that the one thing I've always been able to do is, regardless of what the friendships are, I'm always clear in terms of what's important and where my responsibilities and priorities lie. And I think that I can hold my head up and say that, okay, You know, we went through a selection process. Kenny just wasn't given the job. We went through a selection process. There was other candidates, high-quality candidates interviewed, and the decision to appoint him was a process we put ourselves through, and he got the job. And yes, and I was a promoter of that. Of course I was, so I'm not trying to walk away from it. But once we realised it wasn't working, for the sake of Celtic, you have to do something about it, and we did. And you know, but I hope with Martin and Neil that I'll have a very professional and friendly relationship. You know, I mean, but I never allow friendship to distort me, my thinking in terms of what's best for what I'm paid to do or what people expect me to do responsibly. That's never been the case with me. And in the aerospace business, all the people I worked with were my friends. But you asked them when they needed to do the job, they knew that the job and the responsibility came first, not the friendship.
Do you still talk to Kenny?
Well, I haven't actually spoken to him. In recent weeks, but that's because, you know, he's been away and so have I. But I have no difficulty in talking to Kenny Dalglish whatsoever. I mean, it's been a painful episode for both of us. He won't be too happy with some of the things I'm saying, and I suppose I won't be too happy with some of the things he's saying. But that's the nature of the situation we've got ourselves into, and I think we can only be big boys about it and hopefully try and remain friends throughout whatever transpires in the future.
Alan, the AGM is coming up very shortly. Do you expect to be asked some hard and searching questions about the signing of Raphael?
Well, I'm sure there'll be some demanding and searching questions raised at the AGM. I mean, I've only attended one before. That was the last one, and I'm told it was mild by comparison to others. But there was certainly at that AGM some searching questions asked. And the Celtic shareholders have every right to ask any question they want, and we have a responsibility to answer them as honestly as we can. In respect of the football transactions, I am absolutely comfortable in terms of the way that the transactions have been conducted responsibly and within the guidelines and the directions that football clubs operate.
But there's a lot of doubt about this fellow, isn't there?
But in terms of the football players themselves, you know, the only one football decision I've been involved with at Celtic in terms of the footballer, only one footballing decision, and that's been Henrik Larsson. That's when I encouraged the board that selling Henrik was not in the best interest of Celtic Football Club. Now, I have been criticised when he broke his leg. Business people saw that as a bad decision. You know, we could have made a return for having traded him. You know, with hindsight, they could say that, but at the time we didn't know it was a tragic. But when you saw the performance he put in Sunday, particularly the second half, you know, you can see that perhaps it was a justified decision at the end of the day. And certainly the Celtic supporters have a great affinity with Henrik Larsson.
But while he's doing brilliantly for the club, where is Raphael?
Well, you know, in the case of Raphael, I mean, I think that we've got to look at that. It takes time for players to come and settle into the Scottish environment, and great expectations were had when we brought a defender from Brazil, and whom, from all the reports that were presented to us, would come and do a job for us. Now, I think that what we should recognise is that since Raphael's been recruited, the style of football that Celtic plays has changed. Martin O'Neill very much wants to play a winning the ball type game, that the defenders go and win the ball. The type of approach that John was taking versus Martin, football, and I'm no expert in this, but I think that the football is quite different. And whereas John wanted people at the back that were very comfortable in the ball, first and foremost, Martin wants people at the back that are there and aggressive and win the ball, rather than lay off the ball and win it through more tactical approach. So there is certainly a difference.
So does that lead us to think that Raphael's days here are numbered?
Well, I think that what Raphael has got to come to terms with is the way that the manager wants to play the team, and he's got to try, and I know that he's getting all the support from the great supporting team that Martin's got to come to terms with that, and hopefully he can make the transition.
Alan, you've been a great advocate of Celtic joining a European league, but for whatever reason you've been silent on the subject for a considerable time of late. What is Celtic's position? What is your position?
Well, Celtic's made it very clear in its statements last year, and again in its public statements this year's public utterances through our statement of accounts, that we very much see the necessity to have a changed football environment for us to prosper. And I think not just for us to prosper, but for Scottish football to prosper is the position that we take. So yes, I was fairly vocal about it over a year ago. I had my knuckles rapped for that, for probably being too vocal. But in the meantime, by the media in terms of, and by by the media in the main. Certain people in the media thought that, you know, the idea was crazy. What I've done since then, I've worked extremely hard behind the scenes to have a very constructive and positive dialogue about it. And I think that what I can say is I think there is a mood for change reigning at the moment, not just in Scotland, but in the small countries who see their great football clubs, in terms of the competitiveness of the great football clubs, being diminished by the fact that the giants in the 5 big nations are growing stronger and stronger. And I think there has to be a footballing economic response to that, and I think that that's generally accepted now as something that has to happen.
So, Alan, are you saying Celtic right now, as we speak together today, Celtic are ready to leave the SPL?
No, I don't see. Well, in terms of, because you know that's emotive language in terms of leave the SPL. The way that the discussions are developing, Jim, is the fact that they see that if you imagine 5 or 6 countries involved in such a league, the pyramid of their league structure would be the new league. So the top of the pyramid, if you like, of the new league structure. So rather than seeing us leave the SPL, the fact of the matter is, if we're good enough from the SPL to get into the new Euro League, then we would qualify. And if we were in it and didn't do well enough, we were relegated back down to the SPL. That's the way things are being envisaged at the moment.
It was one of the most eagerly anticipated Old Firm clashes for years, and it didn't disappoint. The commentators for Celtic against Rangers are Ian Crocker and Davy Provan.
It's often been debated down the years as to which was the best Old Firm game, but it's quite simple really. The best Old Firm game is the next one. It gets to you like that, and the next one is here.
Yeah, both managers have been trying to play it down in, but this is a biggie. Psychologically, this is a biggie. A Celtic win today would signal a rebirth under Martin O'Neill. A Rangers victory, well, it would let them claim the high psychological ground, and they've really had Celtic in a psychological armlock over the last decade.
Bobby Pettit with an early surge on his Old Firm debut.
Bobby Pettit, full tilt here down the left-hand side.
Moravcik sends it in, and Stubbs and Larson are there, and it's turned in by Chris Sutton.
Immediately the ball hits the net. Lorenzo Amoruso has his arm up claiming for offside, and here we see it as it drops to Henrik Larsson. There, well, Chris Sutton is in an offside position. As the ball is played, Chris Sutton is offside. And that is the kind of critical decision that can turn Old Firm matches. Sutton hits the byline here, Amoruso pushes out, and as the ball is played by Henrik Larsson, Chris Sutton is offside, but I'll tell you what, he's not complaining.
Reina on towards Rod Wallace. Here's Fernando Rickson, and Reina had made a very good run. Stubbs is there with him though. Has he held him back? Reina giving his all, and eventually it is a free kick. And it comes from Van Bronckhorst, and Billy Dodds is there! All right across the line, that one went.
And look at the movement of Billy Dodds here, he just peels off Paul Lambert, and he will be majorly disappointed he doesn't hit the target. He does ever so well here at the back post to get away from Lambert. Jonathan Gould nowhere, and he will not believe he's missed that chance.
Lubo Moravcik sends it in, but it didn't reach any of its intended targets. It might do so yet though, because Pettit is taking on his fellow countryman Rickson. And that's going to be a corner to Celtic.
Well, it looks as if he's in the mood this afternoon, Bobby Pettit. And Martin O'Neill has transformed this lad. All down to confidence, and white players need that. And this lad looks right in the mood this afternoon.
Celtic seeking a second. Moravcik sends it in, and they have a second! And it's Petrov who wasn't picked up, and it gets better and better for Martin O'Neill and for Celtic.
Deplorable marking here at the back post from Rangers. Stilian Petrov just runs off Fernando Rickson. Good ball in by Moravcik, but the marking is woeful there. Plenty of pace in the ball, into a great area for Petrov to come and attack it. But Rickson, well, he fell asleep.
Stubbs free kick. Ferguson away towards Petter. His first Old Firm game. Oh, and Fernando Rickson's challenge. He wants to get stuck in, Rickson. He's telling us he got sent off after 35 seconds in one game. Petter, though, is still there. And Moravcik could be in. And they're queuing up here. It's another one for Paul Lambert. 3 for Celtic.
Claims for offside. Moravcik clearly on though. Checks back, has the presence to pick out the supporting Lambert. Amoruso can't get close enough to him to close the shot down. Moravcik has time to look up. He sees Lambert. And Lambert could not have struck it any sweeter. And well, it's mission impossible for Rangers now, Ian.
This is why Celtic fans call this place paradise. Van Bronckhorst whips it in. Billy Dodd's off balance though, and Jonathan Gould says, "Thank you very much. I'll have that one."
Yeah, he's off balance, but he's unmarked there again, Ian.
Lubo Moravcik chasing this. Rayner got back, but Moravcik put it through to Larsson, who's onside. Oh, and Stefan Klost saved Rangers from further embarrassment.
That's a glorious chance for Larsson. My initial impression was he was on there. I think he's level as it's played through to him.
Gaffer was in a very jovial mood before kick-off, but that's soon ended, and I understand they're thinking of making a change already with the possibility of the Turkish international 2 guy coming on.
Yeah, he won't be conceding anything yet, Ian. What he will want is one back before half-time. But they have to defend better. Rangers have been a shambles at the back so far.
McCann was hurt, and so was Lambert there. Both players are down and will need treatment.
Yeah, Stuart Dougal might be glad of the break here. Gives him a chance to catch his breath. Neil McCann and Paul Lambert both in obvious pain there. And look at the determination from either man here.
Paul Lambert, once again in an Old Firm game, appears to be in agony.
Yeah, that's a real blow for Celtic.
Van Bronckhorst and Rod Wallace looking for this. Oh, and Jonathan Gould, well, he did it in the end.
I don't know why he stayed though. Jonathan Gould has to come for this. Put one ball in behind, and you're looking for Jonathan Gould to come a bit quicker than he did there. Ended up with a very uncomfortable save to make.
The good news for Celtic is that Paul Lambert is returning to the fray. Barry Ferguson away towards Van Bronckhorst. Up to Neil McCann, on to Rod Wallace. And here's Wallace, and it comes to Ferguson. Oh, and Jonathan Gould is there again.
Yeah, good block though by Stefan Mahi in the first place, Ian. At full stretch here, Stefan Mahi did ever so well. Good movement from Rangers up front.
Lambert shaking off that earlier injury and taking on McCann here. He's still going. Magnificent from Paul Lambert. It's eventually got out for a Rangers throw though. Sutton. Stefan Kloss coming for it. His punch is going to land at the feet of Bobby Petter, and there's no one on him. Petter's cross. Oh, it's going to dribble wide.
Well, I think Larsson took it off Moravcik. Petter clearly tried to pick out Lubo Moravcik. Kloss doesn't make a very good job of the clearance. Petter looks up as Moravcik is trying to find here, and Henrik Larsson took it off his toes. Another good delivery once again from Petter, who has been hugely significant for Celtic today.
I said Paul Lambert had shrugged off that knock from earlier, but I'm not so sure now because he's in need of treatment again. It might be the end this time for Paul Lambert, sadly it will be. They're going to bring on Johan Mjällby, and Paul Lambert, such an influence for Celtic, sadly once again has to go off in an Old Firm game. Lubomir Moravcik with a cracking corner, which was actually knocked away by Barry Ferguson. McCann. Wallace does well to pick out Tugay. McCann. Wallace, nobody supporting him down there. He doesn't need any support, mind you. Claudio Reyna! And Jonathan Gould stopped it right on his line. Although as it's been given
the goal in.
It's been given and Rangers have one back.
Yeah, linesman ran to the halfway line immediately. Terrific break by Rangers, and Rod Wallace did ever so well to spin on the left-hand side here before delivering the back post ball. Just spins away from Alan Stubbs. Delightful ball in. Reyna attacking the back post. Jonathan Gould, well, we can't tell from here. But the linesman on the far side, perfectly positioned to call this one. And exactly what Rangers need. Terrific turn and a super delivery from Rod Wallace. Reyna wanted it badly enough, and that to me looked over the line.
There is hope for Rangers. And they, in their position at the moment, don't care how they go in, as long as they go in. And Jonathan Gould didn't appear to be able to keep that one out. Good spot by the officials. And boy, did Rangers need that. With half-time fast approaching, Claudio Reyna has given them encouragement. Ferguson, they're looking for another. Rod Wallace, he has scored! Oh, the flag is up, it's not going to count. A late flag went up against Rod Wallace.
Well, that's a very tight one. Very, very tight. Again, terrific mobility by Wallace. Let's watch this one again. Diagonal run by Rod Wallace, and he's level. And that's a sore one for Rangers.
Here's Henrik Larsson. And Bobby Petter's in here. Petter! Klaus stopped it! Oh, and Larsson put it wide.
Well, it just wouldn't sit down for Bobby Petter here, Ian. The ball in behind by Larsson, and as it breaks to Petter, he's just hoping this is going to sit down for him. It won't. And that allows Klaus to come out and make the block. Good ball in behind by Sutton. And it just won't sit for Bobby Petter.
Tugay. Reyna. He's going to have a pop. And it was blocked by Mahi, but here's Tony Vidmar. Good cross! Oh, and it might still go in. McCann's header, but the free kick's been given now as Dodds hooked it back.
Well, Celtic right on the ropes here, Ian. Defending desperately as Rangers turn the heat up. Good ball into a dangerous area there. Rangers have bodies forward. And Celtic relieved that that ball finished just over the goal line as Billy Dodds tried to turn it back across goal.
It's half-time, and you have permission to pause for breath.
September football, Sky Sports. A French lesson. England against European and world champions France. From the most exciting league in the world, the Blues face the Gunners. A second capital clash, Spurs looking to nail the Hammers. Plus, Man City back in the big-time tackling Borough. And it just gets better. The champions against FA Cup winners Chelsea. Over 25 live games. September football, Sky Sports. But there's more. Catch the latest football news with SkySports.com TV, Europe's first and only 24-hour sports news channel. Available on Sky Digital.
The PC World Sale is on now, and we're driving prices down right across the store. PC World.
Messenger of the gods, hearken unto Zeus!
What's up, dude?
You've stolen the drink of the gods. Now suffer my wrath. As punishment, you must hand over your winged sandals.
I don't need these ancient Greek sneakers anyway. I found something better.
Better than the divine ambrosia?
Yeah, it's Red Bull.
Red Bull, a new drink of the gods?
No, it's a new cold drink on Earth. It's more fun down there anyway.
And how do you plan to get back without your winged sandals?
With Red Bull. It gives you wings.
Love your hair in the morning, hate it when the fresh feeling fades.
Not anymore.
New L'Oreal Elvive Citrus CR shampoo for normal to occasionally greasy hair.
I've got that freshly washed filling that lasts longer.
L'Oreal's amazing Citrus CR technology is designed to cleanse and smooth each hair to help lock out impurities.
Cleaner, lighter, for longer. Feels like it's just been washed.
Keep that freshly washed feeling.
For longer.
New L'Oreal Elvive Citrus CR shampoo.
L'Oreal, because I'm worth it.
Frustrating, isn't it? When you need an any-purpose loan but don't know who to talk to about unlocking the capital tied up in your property. Even if you're self-employed, consider yourself to have a low credit rating, divorced, or retired. Don't worry, because Ocean Finance hold the key. Call 0800 858 858 and Ocean could help you. Ocean loans can be used for any purpose, and all circumstances will be considered. You may wish to improve your home, or buy a newer car, or simply consolidate all your existing debts into just one manageable monthly payment. There are no interviews, no arrangement fees, and no salesperson will call. So for that homeowner loan, call now. You'll be under no obligation, and you could secure the loan you need. Call Ocean Finance now on 0800 858 858. That's 0800 858 858.
What's your problem? Did you paint over a damp patch without using Thompson's damp seal, which is specifically designed to hide unsightly damp and water stains and stop them showing through after you've decorated? So did I. Don't be wet. Use Thompson's damp seal.
It's gigantic! The JJB Sports Footwear Sale. Mountains of big-name sports footwear, all with 20% off! Yes, all the latest styles from Adidas, Reebok, Nike, Puma, and many more. It's the UK's biggest ever sports footwear price down. JJB prices aren't just coming down, they're crashing down.
JJB, your extra value sports stores.
Rangers start the second half. The champions trailing by 3 goals to 1, but that one could be so crucial. No further changes at the start of the second half. Rangers brought on 2 Guy Berikson in the first, and this man Mjällby came on for the injured Paul Lambert. After Lambert had made such a significant contribution as usual to Celtic's cause. Moravcik, he's away. Are Celtic going to start the second half like they started the first? Lorenzo Amoruso deciding otherwise. And he was there when it mattered. He's got the free kick.
Yeah, he did well to make the room in the first place, Moravcik. He ended up, he just showed too much of it to Lorenzo Amoruso.
McCann. 2 Guy. Van Bronckhorst ready to deliver. Good cross too, but Jonathan Gould collects. Confident catch, and Sutton sets up Larsson here. Larsson, oh, he's in! Henrik Larsson! That is sensational!
A special goal from a very special player. Chris Sutton does magnificently well in the first place to win it over Amoruso. Larsson on his way, look at that skill! And he has the confidence, the composure, and the technique to chip it over Stefan Klos. Look at the arrogance in that finish. That, as you say, is the mark of a world-class player. Absolutely magnificent.
Petter sent it in. Ooh, missed Sutton. Larsson almost got a sniff. Could be a break on though for Rangers. 4 against 3 at the moment as Neil McCann bursts away. Rayner is in plenty of space here, and McCann has picked him out. Rayner, Wallace, penalty given for the challenge on Rod Wallace, and Rangers have a chance to hit back again. Mahi's foul on Wallace.
That's a classic break. Terrific vision by Neil McCann. He checks inside McNamara when the ball comes in. Mahi is the wrong side of Rod Wallace here. The clumsy challenge. I don't think Stuart Dougal has a choice here. That's a penalty for me.
Is there going to be another twist in this quite astonishing game? One way or another, there is going to be. It's Billy Dodds, and he's not missing this season. And Rangers have cut the deficit again. It's 4-2 now in this great game.
Well, Celtic simply caught with too many players forward from Rangers broke in. Good penalty by Billy Dodds here. Head over the ball, made sure he kept it down, hit the target. Jonathan Gould wrong-footed. And once again, Rangers are starting to answer the big questions.
Ferguson. Oh, it's run away from him, and Johan Mjalby picks it up. McNamara. Mjalby has got the free kick, and Stuart Dougal quickly across again.
That's a daft challenge by Lorenzo Amoruso. I don't think Johan Mjalby is going to hurt you with a good ball in that position. Amoruso goes side, dives in needlessly. Celtic will quite happily take the free kick.
Petter delivers. Larsson's header! He's done it again! It's a double for Henrik Larsson! It's number 5!
Good delivery, whipped in by Petter. But look at the room that Henrik Larsson has. Barry Ferguson the nearest to him, and he's 3 yards off him. And it doesn't get any easier for strikers than this. A lot of work still to be done though, and Larsson applies the deftest of headers to find the corner. But he should have been marked tighter than that.
Van Bronckhorst. Celtic determined to be first to the ball. Here's Andrei Kanchelskis, who scored in Manchester, Merseyside and Glasgow derbies. Ferguson, suspected might go back out to Van Bronckhorst, and this two-guy has other ideas. He does. Billy Dodds! And it's just gone wide from Dodds.
Well, that's a chance for Billy Dodds. You'd normally expect him in this kind of form to stick that away. It's a good first touch as the ball's played through to him here. The first touch is excellent. There's a chance to take it first time in the volley after that. And he really should be hitting the target.
Kanchelskis tried to help it on to Wallace, but Mahi saw that one coming. Oh, that's Barry Ferguson, and that was a shocking challenge, really, from Ferguson.
Stuart Dougal wants a word, and no wonder. That was well laid, Barry Ferguson, and he knows it there. Stuart Dougal reached for the card at first, then withdrew his hand.
Two-guy. Wallace. If Rangers were to get another one back, it would make for an amazing final 10 minutes to go with the first amazing 80 minutes. Lovenkrantz cross comes to Ferguson, who shakes off a couple of challenges. Rather blatant handball by Barry Ferguson, who is getting very, very frustrated and has got to be careful. Oh, he's going to be off! Barry Ferguson is going to be sent off in the Old Firm game, and Ferguson is losing it here.
Well, he wants to calm down and get himself out of there, Barry Ferguson. And it's suggesting that we might see a red card. And it may have been given for deliberate handball. Good determination in the first place by Barry Ferguson to win the ball. He really had nowhere to go after that. And I think it's the deliberate handball that's proved costly to him. The slip here. The left arm goes over the ball. But it's really the previous couple of rash challenges that have caught up with him here.
Noel Gallagher of Oasis in the crowd. I wonder if it's ever like this at Main Road. Here's Claudio Reyna. Helped on by Dodds, but Celtic are everywhere. And Johan Mjalby has put in a good shift as well, having had to come into this cauldron in the first half of the injured Lambert. Petter now has released Stefan Mahi. Have Celtic got another one left in them? Sutton is there! Yes, they have! Sutton scores! It's 6 of the best, for the very best today. Celtic!
It's a great striker's goal, Ian, because he can't have much left gas in his tank, but he still makes sure he's at the back post when the ball comes in here. And he has to make up a lot of ground. You see him on the far side there. Times are run to perfection. Drifts off Amoruso. One touch is enough. And what an Old Firm debut for Chris Sutton.
The former Scotland winger John Robertson arrived as Celtic's new assistant manager just in time for the visit of Rangers. He'd heard all about what to expect, but it didn't prepare him for an unbelievable first day at the office. He's been talking to Davy Provan.
Johnny, are your feet back on firm ground again after that remarkable game?
Well, it's been difficult to get your feet back in the ground after that. It was an unbelievable experience for me. Unbelievable.
What did you expect going into the game? Because I'm sure a lot of people have tried to tell you what Old Firm games are like.
Well, they said you'll not experience anything like this, and to be fair, they were spot on. And I played in a lot of big games, but I had never experienced an atmosphere like that. It was electric, really unbelievable.
What was it like in the dressing room after the game? Because Celtic have waited a long time for this.
Well, it was euphoric, obviously, as you can understand. The boys were really, really happy, as you would expect. It was a great atmosphere. It was just a great day for me. So it was magnificent, really. I can't put any other word to it than that.
In the longer term, what do you think that result might do psychologically for your dressing room?
Well, I mean, last season, I don't think we won a game, but at the end of the day, they're a good, whatever you say, they're a good side, and you've got to be totally honest with it. And it's a one game, we have to keep our feet firmly on the ground. But I think it'll give the lads a belief that they can beat them, you know. So from that point of view, it was good.
But was it a big decision for you to come back to Scotland after, what, 32 years in England?
Well, it's 32 years, and it was but the chance to come here, you know, Celtic Football Club, I'm looking around me, I still can't believe it, it's massive, the atmosphere, well, it was... So at the end of the day, I would never have forgiven myself if I hadn't taken the opportunity to come up with Martin, you know, and you had to do it, really.
Do you think people in England appreciate just how big the two Glasgow clubs are?
No, I don't. I really don't. I remember when I was a kid, I think we used to play in the morning down there when I was about 16. I had just gone down to Nottingham, and there was definitely a Rangers Celtic morning kick-off. And I come after our youth team game, so how'd the big game go? And they were saying, what big game? You know, it's Rangers Celtic. And so, no, I don't think they really do. And I think I'd forgotten until I saw it yesterday, you know, it was unbelievable.
You wish you'd been out there playing?
Well, I'd love to have played in one of them games. You know, I think, I mean, you've played in it. I don't know how many you played on, but...
Too many.
I mean, it's just a magnificent atmosphere.
Realistically, in the longer term this season, what are the targets?
Well, I mean, you don't want to get too carried away with one result, you know. I mean, it'd be we've got Hibs in a fortnight, and that's equally as vital, because if we don't get something or win that game and Rangers do, we're back to square one.
Are you aware of the kind of pressure that you and Martin might come under as the season wears on?
Well, I think you don't come into a job like this without knowing that. You know, you're going to, if it don't go well, you get stick. If it goes well, you become a hero, and that's the chance that you take, and you just hope it goes for you.
In the final part of Inside Scottish Football, how Hibs set about staying top of the SPL.
To be blowing very, very hard after about 20 odd minutes. I expected him to probably see the first half out. He was determined to go on. He's done very, very little training, and he's done very little preparation with the team. I thought his efforts were magnificent. Delighted for him that he scored the goal, but his whole effort throughout was magnificent.
Can you see how you found playing alongside Chris?
Oh, worst ever. No, I was kidding. No, he's a class player. I always said that if you play with a class player, it's not difficult.
Sutton played his part in setting up Larsson for the opening goal. The Swede proved he's regained his sharpness after last season's broken leg.
I said to him in the dressing room, I thought beforehand he was a good player. I'm wrong about that there, he's a fantastic player.
O'Neill's satisfied with the debut of Belgian centre-half Josval Harren, but annoyed at the defending for David McCracken's equaliser. Nonetheless, mission accomplished. His Celtic...
to his dream job for Martin O'Neill. But it's done nothing to alter his view of the size of the task he faces with Celtic. After he had time to reflect on victory at Tannadice, he spoke exclusively to Davy Provan.
As Celtic's 9th manager in 10 years, Martin O'Neill knows he's taking on the most challenging job in British football. But much of his apprehension would have disappeared at Tannadice, as the Celtic faithful welcomed him like a long-lost son.
It was fantastic, phenomenal. And in many aspects, although you should never be surprised about anything around Celtic football.